Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. The villain starts from dual cultivation with the protagonist master. Chapter 1. Lu Chuan, how long have we been falling off the cliff? Lin Qingxie, covered in blood, regained consciousness from her meditation. After a long period of treatment, she only temporarily stabilized the toxins in her body. Master, it has been 3 days. How are your injuries? Do you need me to help you heal? Master, please prioritize your own safety. As far as I know, the higher the cultivation level, the more severe the effect of this dragon poison. My cultivation is shallow, so I am temporarily fine. Lin Qingxie nodded and focused her attention again to seal her meridians. The dragon poison had already penetrated her meridians, and if not suppressed, it would endanger her life. This poison not only caused irreversible damage to the cultivator's dantian, but also had a strong aphrodisiac effect. Lin Qingxie was already a nascent soul stage cultivator, so the onset of the toxin was even more intense. She dared not even open her eyes to look at Lu Chuan. Despite her firm Dao heart, she had no spare energy to resist the continuous emergence of evil thoughts from the depths of her heart. She could only rely on regulating her breath to suppress the spread of the toxin. Lu Chuan glanced at Lin Qingxie and confirmed that she had entered a meditative state again. Sigh, what should I do? He secretly opened the system, which read: Mission: Dual Cultivation with the Protagonist Master. Rewards: Chaotic Immortal Physique, a body-refining quality possessed only by ancient immortals, capable of cultivating all spiritual energy. Immune to illusions, toxins, and other adverse effects. Foundation building late-stage cultivation. Title: Despised Ancestor of the Riding Sect. Lu Chuan rubbed his forehead speechlessly. The mission was of extremely high difficulty right from the start. After falling off the cliff, he awakened memories of his past life. In his past life, he was an ordinary person on the Blue Star. During his student days, he was caught up in intense competition and was recruited by a large corporation after graduating from university. He should have had a bright future, not necessarily one of wealth and glory, but at least a happy and fulfilling life. A sudden car accident destroyed Lu Chuan's life. The beautiful future became an impossible dream. He became a vegetable lying in a hospital bed, relying on a ventilator to stay alive. His perception of the outside world was weak, and he could only occasionally hear faint voices. It's better to be dead than to live like this, his family, who had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, cursed in front of his hospital bed. This became the final straw that crushed Lu Chuan. If only he hadn't gone out that day, his family wouldn't have despised him, his girlfriend wouldn't have abandoned him, and he would have surely lived an incredibly wonderful life. In his regret, Lu Chuan gave up on the idea of living. Congratulations, host, on awakening the memories of your past life. This place is actually a novel world, and in this world's script, you are a villain who tries to hinder the growth of the protagonist and will eventually die at the hands of the protagonist. A system appeared before Lu Chuan, which only he could see. Lu Chuan was speechless. After finally awakening his memories from his past life, he realized that he was actually a doomed villain. Fortunately, host, you have me, the great villain system. As long as you complete the tasks, you will be able to stage a comeback. The protagonist's opportunities, the protagonist's harem, and the protagonist's achievements will all be yours. Do you see that beauty? Her name is Lin Qingxie, the future mentor of the protagonist. Your first task is to cultivate with her. Lu Chuan understood that the system before him was a villain system, and he himself was a mid-story villain in a novel. Born into a prestigious family with exceptional talent, but at odds with the protagonist, he would engage in open and hidden battles with the protagonist in the middle of the novel. If he wasn't careful, the protagonist would seize an opportunity and take him down. Lu Chuan made up his mind to change this future. In his previous life, he couldn't control his own destiny, but this time he would seize the opportunity. In the world of cultivation, improving one's own strength is the most important factor. Before he had the ability to completely defeat the protagonist, he needed to establish good relationships with the people around the protagonist. Time returned to the present. They were under a cliff that had just been discovered as a secret realm. Both of them were seriously injured and had highly toxic dragon venom in their bodies. The secret realm exploration was supposed to only involve righteous sect members, but somehow cultists had infiltrated. Their goal was to eliminate all the righteous sect members in the secret realm and even sacrifice themselves to break the seal in the secret realm, releasing dozens of red dragons. Each red dragon had the strength of a human nascent soul cultivator. As one of the highest cultivators in the secret realm, Lin Qingshe stepped forward to protect her disciples and allow them to retreat. Lu Chuan, as the designated senior brother of the next generation of the Immortal Gate, followed behind Lin Qingshe in order to gain some credit. As a result, they were surrounded by the red dragons and had to jump off the cliff in order to survive. With their spiritual energy depleted and their bodies heavily injured, they also had dragon venom coursing through their bodies. According to the plot development, Lin Qingshui's strength would greatly decline due to this injury, and soon after, the demon sect would invade the Immortal Gate, and she would die protecting the protagonist. Cough, cough. Lu Chuan organized his thoughts, but when he didn't know how to speak, he heard coughing from nearby. There was a large pool of blood in front of Lin Qingshe, and she was coughing up blood continuously. She covered her mouth with her hand, trying to minimize the bleeding, but couldn't suppress it. The bright red blood dripped from her slender fingers. "Senior uncle, what's wrong with you? Cough, don't come close, cough." Unable to hear clearly, Lu Chuan approached, and only then did he notice that her originally fair skin had turned red, and her eyes had an indescribable allure. The weak and delicate image caused by her weakness made Lu Chuan stare in a daze. Lin Qingshe had been suppressing the evil fire for a long time, but the dragon venom had entered her dantian. Now, the desire fire was burning within her. If she couldn't find an outlet soon, she would die. The only solution was to sever the connection between her dantian and meridians, but for a cultivator, this was no different from disabling their dantian. She struggled to maintain her composure and squeezed out a sentence, "I told you not to come, didn't you hear?" After speaking, she closed her eyes tightly. Just by looking at Lu Chuan, her body's desire for the opposite gender almost overwhelmed her rationality. There was no time left, she had to destroy her dantian. Her anger seemed weak. The panting between words and the exposed skin from her torn clothes made Lu Chuan have impure thoughts. Sensing that something was wrong with Lin Qingshe, Lu Chuan knew that she was about to do the same thing as in the original book, which meant that his dual cultivation mission would be impossible to complete, and the probability of being killed by the protagonist would increase. That kind of thing is not allowed. He must take control of his own life. "Shishu, stop." Lu Chuan quickly grabbed Lin Qingshui's hands, looked into her eyes, and could feel the heat of her breath on his face. With a perfect fairy-like face, passionate eyes, and continuous panting, Lin Qingshe could no longer suppress her desires and followed her instincts to push Lu Chuan down. The dragon poison penetrated her dantian, and the detoxification process was very long. Although Lin Qingshui's spiritual energy was almost depleted, her physical strength was still stronger than Lu Chuan, who was at the qi refining late stage. Lu Chuan struggled to cope, feeling comfortable but also exhausted to the point of fainting. When he woke up from his coma, the first thing he heard was the sound of the system prompt. "Congratulations, host, on completing the mission. The mission reward has been issued. Cultivation has been restored to the foundation building late stage. Obtained the chaotic immortal physique. Cultivation speed is 1,000 times that of an ordinary person, can absorb all spiritual energy for oneself, immune to all worldly toxins. The points store is now open. As the host has completed the mission for the first time, an additional reward of 10 points for the villain value has been given." "What are the points for?" Lu Chuan asked curiously. "And what does the ellipsis mean?" "The chaotic immortal physique is exceptionally powerful, and its full potential has not been fully understood. There must be other uses, but I don't know. As for the villain points, as long as you complete missions or do things that a villain should do, the points will increase. Increasing points can be used to purchase items in the points store. The points store has been opened for the host. Eastern Emperor's Bell, 1 million points. Zan Yuan Sword, 800,000 points. Cultivation Advancement to the Land Immortal Realm, 500,000 points. 9 Transformation Spirit Pill, 100,000 points. A screen similar to Bishishi appeared in front of him, and the items in the points store were dazzling, with divine weapons, realm advancements, various elixirs, but the prices were too high. "Can you recommend something I can afford?" Lu Chuan complained to the system in his mind. The interface refreshed, and this time, everything that appeared was within Lu Chuan's acceptable range, various spiritual herbs and spirit treasures, and even items from the Blue Star. The ones that attracted Lu Chuan the most were these. A set of Cheongsam, 5 points. Skin-changing card, 1 card, 5 points. A box of instant noodles, 1 point. The interface looked like Bishishi, but did she also get noodles and clothes from there? Will using the skin-changing card result in a ban? Just as Lu Chuan was about to ask the system what it meant, Lin Qingshui's voice came, so he had to close the system first. You're awake, how do you feel? Very comfortable. After awakening the memories from the Blue Star, Lu Chuan's originally indifferent personality changed, and he blurted out. Hearing Lu Chuan's answer, Lin Qingshui realized that she had asked an ambiguous question and a blush appeared on her face. She turned around and leaned back against Lu Chuan to hide her embarrassment. I didn't ask about that feeling. How are the toxins in your body? In theory, the evil fire had been extinguished and the toxins would no longer spread. The only worry was that the enhanced toxins in Lin Qingshui's body had been transferred to Lu Chuan through their dual cultivation. I'm fine. Shishu, how about your recovery? For now, I'm fine. You don't need to worry. After understanding the situation, the two fell into silence. Lin Qingshui closed her eyes and meditated, while Lu Chuan looked around. There were pieces of torn cloth all around, with bloodstains on them. Lu Chuan wondered if the blood came from wounds or from Lin Shishu's first time. Don't tell anyone about our dual cultivation. As if knowing what Lu Chuan was thinking, Lin Qingshui lightly lifted her vermilion lips. I won't tell anyone about our matters. I have forgotten what happened under the cliff, I only remember that Lin Shishu saved me from the hands of the Red Dragon. After receiving Lu Chuan's assurance, Lin Qingshui visibly relaxed and her voice became warm again. Lu Chuan, I know you can't bear to see me destroy my Dantian and ruin my path to immortality. You have done me a favor, and I will repay it when we return to the sect. Shishu, there's no need to be so polite. What kind of relationship do we have? Ouch. Lin Qingshui twisted Lu Chuan's waist to cover up her shyness. Now that we have recovered almost completely, let's think about how to return to the Immortal Gate. The current top priority was to get out of the secret realm. The opening of the secret realm had a time limit, and they couldn't leave before it closed. They could only stay in the secret realm until the next opening. They might be trapped for a few days, or they might never be able to leave. Shishu, let's take a break. After exploring for a while, Lu Chuan noticed that Lin Qingshui's walking speed was getting slower and suggested. Toxins still remained in her body, and if she forcefully activated her qi to restore her strength, the dragon poison would flare up again. Lu Chuan had no choice but to cultivate with her again. Don't ask how Lu Chuan knew, he didn't have a single drop left. Below the cliff was a forest. In the original story, the two of them would accidentally enter the core of the secret realm, where there was a divine weapon called the Frostbite Sword. Although Lin Qingshui's Dantian was shattered, her obsession with swordsmanship would gain the recognition of the Frostbite Sword. After her death, this sword would be left to the protagonist and become his main weapon for a long time. The next task given by the system is: seize the Frostbite Sword. Reward: physique, flawless sword body, excellent talent for sword cultivation, improved comprehension of swordsmanship. 100 points. As long as he followed Lin Qingshui and took the sword before it recognized its master, he was more confident in obtaining the Frostbite Sword compared to Lin Qingshui, whose spiritual power was currently 0. The sound of wild wolves came from the forest, followed by the cries of creatures like rabbits. It seems that not all creatures can live here peacefully, Lu Chuan silently sighed. Survival of the fittest, natural selection. This is a common point between the cultivation world and the Blue Star. Not only that, there are also various unexpected events in life. Thinking of rabbits, Lu Chuan felt like he hadn't eaten anything for a long time. After awakening his memories of his past life, Lu Chuan felt that the more than 10 years he had lived in the cultivation world were like a bubble. It seemed like yesterday when he was still living on the Blue Star, and today he was reborn in the cultivation world. Not long ago, he saw that the system's points store had a complete set of pots, pans, and seasonings, all for just 1 point. Lu Chuan felt a bit itchy. Out of politeness, Lu Chuan still asked, Shishu Lin, are you hungry? Do you want to eat something? I have been fasting for many years, and I have long given up eating. You have only been cultivating for half a year and haven't reached the foundation building stage yet. In fact, you don't need to eat from the foundation building stage onwards. Lu Chuan has now been promoted to the foundation building late stage through the system, and indeed, he hasn't felt hungry these days, but he feels a craving. Then I'll eat something. Shishu, you rest. Summoning the system's point store, Lu Chuan exchanged for seasonings and simple pots and bowls. In an instant, he moved to the forest, enveloped a stone with spiritual energy, and hit a mountain chicken that was foraging. He also gathered some edible vegetables. After spending some time processing the chicken, Lin Qingshui's gaze had been on Lu Chuan the whole time. Lu Chuan focused on cooking and occasionally smiled at Lin Qingshui. Whenever their eyes met, Lin Qingshui always felt her cheeks heating up and would slightly turn her face away. Is Shishu feeling unwell again? Lu Chuan asked. Not at all, you just like to bully me. Thinking of the mischief they had been up to these past few days, Lin Qingshui bit her lip lightly, her eyes filled with resentment. But it's all for Shishu's own good. Lu Chuan pouted and continued to focus on cooking. Before long, the aroma of stewed chicken filled the air. Lu Chuan used his spiritual energy to disperse it, to prevent any spirit beasts in the forest from being attracted by the smell. After taking a bite, it was indeed the familiar taste from his memories. Lu Chuan picked up a bowl, sat on the ground, and started eating in small bites. Being able to taste food from the blue star even in the cultivation world felt quite strange to Lu Chuan. If it weren't for the presence of a beautiful woman with an ancient charm by his side, Lu Chuan would almost think he was still on the blue star. But as Lin Qingshui had said, reaching the foundation building stage transcended the realm of ordinary mortals. Lu Chuan didn't feel such a strong desire for food anymore, it was just to satisfy his appetite. Sensing someone approaching, Lu Chuan stopped reminiscing and turned to look. The person was Lin Qingshui. Most of her clothes were damaged, barely covering the important parts. Her fair and slender clavicle was exposed, and a few strands of black hair fell messily on her chest. She sat next to Lu Chuan, leaning close to him. Her lips were slightly pursed, and her deep gaze was fixed on the chicken in Lu Chuan's hand. It had been decades since she had eaten anything, but now she felt hungry. Whether it was because of the depletion of spiritual energy or because Lu Chuan had cooked it himself, she didn't know. Shishu, would you like some? I can't finish it alone. Just have a taste. Lu Chuan understood Lin Qingshui's thoughts as she stared at the food, so he gave her an opportunity. I don't need it. I just said I wouldn't eat, how can I go back on my words? Lin Qingshui's inner thoughts were exposed, and she became flustered. She tried to change the subject. Why did you bring pots, pans, and seasonings when you went out to explore the secret realm? Other cultivators would love to fill their storage rings with pills and spirit treasures. The average cultivator would need to save up spirit stones for 1 or 2 years to afford a storage ring. Actually, Lu Chuan doesn't need a storage ring, as his system has its own storage space. These were given to me by my family. The younger disciples with lower cultivation levels are always given some food, pots, pans, and utensils, just in case. Lu Chuan explained as he handed the bowl and chopsticks to Lin Qingshui, blinking his eyes. Just have a taste, it must be delicious. If it's not, you can eat mine. Oh, I'll just have a taste then. Lin Qingshui no longer held back. She gently opened her lips and only picked up a piece of meat at a time, savoring it slowly. Her movements were gentle and delicate, and after swallowing, a slight smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. So delicious. It tasted completely different from the dishes she had eaten before. Lin Qingshui couldn't stop herself and continued eating piece by piece. Watching Lin Qingshui enjoy the food, Lu Chuan's mood also became joyful. Perhaps he was destined to be a character with a predetermined tragic fate. There wasn't much description of this Shizen character in the original work. In the book, Lin Qingshui gave off an impression of being cold and lonely. Although she was righteous and willing to help others. But she was not good with words and was obsessed with sword cultivation and training, showing no interest in other matters. This also led to her being ostracized in the sect and not being treated well by other elders. But after spending so many days with her, Lin Qingshe occasionally showed cute gestures and had unique opinions on many things, which indicated that she was not a one-dimensional character in a novel. She was a flesh and blood perfected being. Lin Qingshe is a person who appears cold on the outside but is warm on the inside. Only a few people can feel her inner tenderness. There are only benefits and no drawbacks to getting along with her. It is convenient for future interactions with the protagonist and for carrying out actions. Why are you laughing? After finishing her soup, Lin Qingshe noticed that Lu Chuan was staring at her with a smile and quickly wiped her mouth, pretending to be angry. I was thinking that you look really good when you eat. Lin Qingshe turned her head, her face blushing. I am your senior. So what? If you look good, you look good. Stop it. Lin Qingshui's voice was very soft. She didn't know how to face Lu Chuan. Since stepping onto the path of cultivation, she has always prioritized improving her own strength and had no other thoughts. She had never even considered finding a Dao companion. Now she was actually feeling embarrassed by the words of a junior disciple. Senior, I remembered that there is a set of clothes in my storage ring, also a specialty of the Lu family. You can try it on. Lu Chuan bought a set of cheongsam from the mall and handed it to Lin Qingshe. Taking the clothes, Lin Qingshe didn't refuse. Her clothes were tattered and covered in bloodstains. Don't peek. What do you take me for? Signaling for Lu Chuan to move aside, Lin Qingshe began to change clothes. The slight rustling sound of the clothes falling off and the soft sigh of not knowing how to put them on properly made Lu Chuan's thoughts wander and his blood surge. I'm done, but isn't this too revealing? The light blue cheongsam highlighted her excellent figure, and the slightly shorter skirt accentuated her fair and slender legs. I didn't expect cheongsams to go so well with mature women. If there are other clothes in the mall, I should let Lin Qingshe try them on when there's a chance. How does it fit? It fits. I'm already infatuated with you, senior. Don't be cheeky. Rest well and let's continue finding our way out. The two of them walked deeper into the forest together. The further they went, the fewer trees and spirit beasts there were. A circular clearing appeared ahead, with 4 stone tablets placed in the southeast, northwest directions. Something's not right. Lu Chuan, be careful. Before the words could finish, a group of black-clothed people wielding daggers surrounded Lin Qingshe, and Lu Chuan's figure disappeared from her side. Who are you? The black-clothed people attacked directly, aiming their daggers at Lin Qingshui's neck. Lin Qingshui's spiritual energy had not fully recovered, so she couldn't use Dao techniques and could only draw her long sword to defend herself. Fortunately, she was a sword cultivator herself, and she could not be easily defeated by ordinary people with just numbers. She continuously killed 7 or 8 people, but more black-clothed people kept appearing around her. These people were obviously much stronger than the ones before, and she couldn't defeat them with just basic sword moves. They were cunning and used tricky moves. From their skills, it was clear that these people couldn't be from the righteous path. What were their intentions? Did they want to exterminate her? How did they know where she and Lu Chuan were? Where was Lu Chuan? Although he was recognized as a genius, he had only been cultivating for a short time, and he was also seriously injured. After exploring the forest for a few days, he must be exhausted. Did Lu Chuan have the strength to deal with these people? Perhaps he had already encountered an accident. Thinking of this, Lin Qingshui's chest felt like it was being pricked by needles, and worry and anxiety filled her heart. She needed to quickly deal with these people and find Lu Chuan. Just as she was about to resolve the black-clothed people in one go, they suddenly distanced themselves. HMPH, you truly deserve your reputation as a famous righteous swordsman. Wait, listen to what we have to say. We know your secret. It was you who killed your own master. What nonsense are you spouting? Lin Qingshe furrowed her brows, gripping her sword tighter, cold sweat dripping from her forehead. Oh, so you've forgotten what happened back then? Don't worry, we'll make you remember. You, a person like you, don't deserve to live. You're the one who deserves to die. The light and shadows in front of Lin Qingshe were changing rapidly. The location changed from the circular formation deep in the forest to the familiar immortal gate. Lin Qingshe, what are you going to do? Master, the invaders are just low-level demonic cultivators. I have already reached the nascent soul stage, they are not worth fearing. I also want to go to the front line and fight. Hold on, demonic cultivators are cunning and there are many of them. The sect leaders will handle the front line, so don't worry. Your task is to protect the younger disciples here. The somewhat immature Lin Qingshe did not listen to her master's advice. After apologizing to her master, she left the sanctuary and returned to the sect to fight against the demonic cultivators. Over 100 years ago, Immortal Gate was attacked by demonic cultivators. The incident happened too suddenly, and there was no time to activate the defensive formation. Ordinary disciples were evacuated to safe places, while only cultivators skilled in combat remained in the sect to protect the library and other main peaks from being breached. In her youth, Lin Qingshe was once known as a sword prodigy, surpassing many elders in terms of swordsmanship. The young and arrogant Lin Qingshe ignored her master's advice and went to the front line alone. The purpose of her sword training was to slay demons and defend the righteous path. If she didn't stand up in times of danger, what kind of swordsman would she be? What kind of righteous cultivator? At first, she encountered only trash cultivators at the chi refining stage or even the body refining stage of demonic cultivation, whom she easily killed. As she went deeper, two nascent soul stage demonic cultivators suddenly appeared from the shadows, and she realized she had fallen into a trap. They were injured, clearly having fought against humans. With both of them at the early nascent soul stage, Lin Qingshe believed she could try to fight them. Lin Qingshe fought against them for several hours. Relying on her exquisite swordsmanship and abundant spiritual energy, she even seized the opportunity to kill one of the nascent soul demonic cultivators. At the same time, she was covered in wounds, and the price of trading injuries for kills was damage to her origin and impairment of her spiritual consciousness. Is this my limit? She could even smell the scent of blood in her breath. Lin Qingshui's left hand was broken, and she was knocked down by the demonic cultivators. Lin Qingshe struggled to support her body and raised her sword towards the nascent soul demonic cultivator in front of her. Don't think you've won. You're just a petty person who bullies the weak. As a disciple of Immortal Gate, I will never submit to the forces of darkness. Hee, arrogant brat, even in the face of death, you still speak shamelessly. Die. A silver-white light quickly approached, and the demonic cultivator threw a flying sword with all his strength. Lin Qingshe closed her eyes, but she didn't feel the expected pain. She forced herself to open her eyes and saw the person she was most familiar with standing in front of her, her master who treated her like a daughter. It was a full-force strike from a nascent soul stage cultivator, and there was no time for Lin Qingshui's master to defend himself. The spiritual sword broke through his robe and pierced his body, causing a red flower to bloom on his chest. The senior members of the sect arrived immediately and took control of the situation. The past scenes replayed before her eyes. These were the memories deeply hidden by Lin Qingshe, memories she didn't want to mention. After this incident, she shed her immaturity and became mature and steady, inheriting the sect and taking on the responsibilities of an elder. But the price of growth was too great. They were right. She was a murderer. She killed the person who raised her and guided her onto the path of cultivation. Perhaps she shouldn't have survived. Her master must have regretted taking her as a disciple in the end, as he said before he passed away. The environment in front of her began to change again, from Immortal Gate back to the forest. The appearance of the black-clothed person turned into Lin Qingshui's master. Ding! The long sword slipped from her hand. Facing her master, Lin Qingshe couldn't even pick up the sword. She couldn't bring herself to do it. At the same time, from Lu Chuan's perspective, after stepping onto the circular formation, Lin Qingshe suddenly fainted. Master uncle, Lu Chuan quickly caught Lin Qingshe. After touching her, Lu Chuan saw Lin Qingshe being surrounded by wave after wave of black-clothed people. He also saw her unknown past. The original novel did not mention this past, only mentioning Lin Qingshui's old wounds and their connection to the demon Dao. Everything Lin Qingshe saw was an illusion created by the frostbite sword. As a 9th-grade treasure sword, it was already considered a divine weapon. To become its master, one needed its recognition. The trial of the frostbite sword was to make the test subjects see the memories they least wanted to recall. In the original novel, it was not Lin Qingshe who went through the trial and ultimately gained the recognition of the frostbite sword. Lin Qingshe should have overcome it with her strong will. But the current situation was completely different. The appearance of the frostbite sword must have been due to someone passing the trial. Lu Chuan did not enter his own illusion, and Lin Qingshe might be trapped in the illusion and unable to come out. Don't worry, host, your lovely system suddenly appeared, so let me analyze it for you. The voice of the system sounded. The reason why this illusion doesn't work on you is because of your special physique. The chaotic immortal physique has the effect of immunity to illusions. The reason why Lin Qingshe reacted differently from the original novel was also related to this. The illusion trial that was supposed to be shared by both of them was imposed on Lin Qingshe alone by the frostbite sword. She has exhausted her spiritual energy, and the possibility of passing the trial has reached its lowest point. How can we help her come out of the illusion? Lu Chuan is not a good person, but this is because of him. From the perspective of the antagonist, perhaps it would be beneficial to him if the protagonist master died at this time. But he is not the villain Lu Chuan in the novel, he is himself. He wants to act according to his own will. Moreover, helping Lin Qingshe come out of the illusion is the only way to complete the system's mission. The system seems to know Lu Chuan's thoughts and gives advice. Well done, host. I have a suggestion for you. While kissing Lin Qingshe with your physical body, activate your spiritual energy. The characteristics of the chaotic immortal physique will make Lin Qingshui's body mistake you for a part of her, and your consciousness will be able to enter her illusion and communicate with her. Then it depends on your performance, host. Lu Chuan skillfully kisses Lin Qingshui's lips. Her face is pale, even more haggard than when the dragon poison attacked. The enemies in the illusion are preparing to attack her, and Lu Chuan quickly takes action to resist. If she is defeated, Lin Qingshe may never be able to escape the illusion. While defending against the enemies, Lu Chuan calls out to her in her heart. Master, wake up. Lu Chuan can now feel Lin Qingshui's most direct feelings. Lin Qingshe is trapped in deep self-doubt, wondering if she is really a murderer. If she hadn't rushed out that day, if she had listened to her master's words and stayed in the shelter, would her master still be alive? Lu Chuan experienced this state in his previous life as well. Over time, he might even give up on life. The external enemies are getting stronger, and their strength has reached the gold core stage. Lu Chuan can only barely defend himself and protect the motionless Lin Qingshe from the enemy's attacks. Master. Lin Qingshe faintly hears someone's voice, very familiar, but she can't remember who it is. Qingshe, 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 everything you see now is an illusion, wake up. Although Lu Chuan has never called her Qingshe, she still remembers whose voice it is. The junior who reached out to her in her time of need, the young boy who teased her with words. They have a husband and wife relationship, an important person to her. Qingshe, it's not your fault. You are not a murderer, your survival has meaning, don't give up. You have helped so many ordinary people, you have saved them. Just like how your master protected you. If you were injured while helping others, you wouldn't blame those who needed help. It was your choice to step forward and help those in need. It's okay, even if you still feel guilty. I will be by your side, sharing the burden with you. He will be with me. These words give her courage. She opens her eyes and sees the scarred Lu Chuan in front of her. But he is still smiling foolishly. Master, you're awake, help me out. Once again, he extends a helping hand when she needs it the most. Lin Qingshui's chest feels hot, her heart pounding, and her mouth tastes as sweet as honey. She doesn't know what this feeling is, she has never experienced it before. Fool. Lin Qingshe takes action, easily defeating the enemies wearing her master's mask. Now that she knows it's an illusion, she can fully unleash her strength. Her master was a gentle person, someone who protected those who wielded swords. These cunning enemies are nothing more than illusions. Before this, her master's death was like a needle embedded in her heart. Perhaps during her cultivation, a heart demon would arise because of it. But now she no longer has this worry, she has let go of her guilt towards her master's death. She remembers her master's smile when he stood in front of her. When he died, he wasn't regretting raising her, but thinking that his disciple was safe and sound. In fact, it is true. To die in order to protect his disciple, for Lin Qingshe, who has no hope of advancing in a limited lifespan, it is a good ending. In the end, he thought that his death had value. Lin Qingshe will live on, carrying the weight of her deceased master. Now, she is wielding her sword to protect Lu Chuan, carrying on the legacy of the swordsmanship. Ice Soul Sword, my Ice Soul Sword. After Lin Qingshe passed the trial, Lu Chuan fell into a coma due to excessive spiritual energy consumption. When he regained consciousness, Lu Chuan's lips were still touching hers. Not long ago, it was common for them to cultivate together, but now she felt her face burning. Shameless, she muttered softly, pushing Lu Chuan away. Poor Lu Chuan rolled on the ground and distanced himself from Lin Qingshe. Looking at Lu Chuan's profile while he was unconscious, the corners of Lin Qingshui's mouth unconsciously lifted. Suddenly, a long sword appeared from the center of the disc and flew into Lin Qingshui's hand. Is this a spiritual sword? Upon closer inspection, the sword in her hand was shining, and just holding it felt chilling. Upon careful observation, she realized that this was no ordinary item. Lin Qingshe speculated that the grade of this spiritual sword was at least 8 grade. It seemed that the illusion just now was its trial to recognize its master. Spirit herbs and spirit beasts were special resources in the secret realm, but some secret realms also had hidden spirit treasures. The secret realm existed because of it, and after a spirit treasure recognized its master, the secret realm would disappear. After a period of time, the secret realm would disappear, and the people inside would be transported out. So there was no need to worry about how to leave the secret realm. Putting away the spiritual sword, Lin Qingshe walked to Lu Chuan, who was still unconscious. She sat against a tree and placed Lu Chuan's head on her thigh. Just looking at him, Lin Qingshe felt a sense of relief, and her whole body relaxed. The scenes of the past few days flashed through her mind. Because she was worried about her, she fought against the rampaging Crimson Dragon together, even though she was just a newcomer at the chi refining stage of the sect. Because she didn't want her to ruin her path to immortality, she cultivated with her to alleviate the toxins, even though her yang energy was not released, which might affect her cultivation. Because she was trapped in the illusion and lost in her inner demons, she did her best to help her, exhausting herself to the point of fainting. Fool! Lin Qingshe pointed her slender finger at Lu Chuan's forehead and laughed, scolding, think about yourself, you big fool. She gently touched Lu Chuan's face, and her heart grew hotter, unable to resist lowering her head to kiss Lu Chuan. I owe you. Lu Chuan had a dream where he obtained everything from the protagonist and crushed him from every angle. But after he pushed the protagonist into a desperate situation, the protagonist counterattacked for no reason and killed him. You cheater. You actually cheated. Lu Chuan woke up, feeling a chill down his spine from the scene of his head separating from his body. Fortunately, it was just a dream. Lu Chuan found himself on an unfamiliar bed. The room was tidy, with not too many items, neatly arranged. There was a familiar scent, not strong, but a faint fragrance. It was the scent of Lin Qingshe. This was her bedroom. You're awake. Upon hearing Lu Chuan's voice, Lin Qingshe rushed into the room, taking 3 steps in 2 strides towards him. Is your body okay? Her hands roamed over Lu Chuan's body, trying to confirm how well he had recovered. I'm fine, Qingshe. Lu Chuan was used to saying it in the illusion and didn't change it all at once. I'm fine, Senior Lin. That's good. Lin Qingshe turned her head, her gaze wandering around the room, avoiding eye contact with Lu Chuan, disguising her shyness. She felt joy in her heart, her cheeks flushed, and even her earlobes turned red, but she didn't let Lu Chuan see. Senior, how long was I unconscious? Half a month. Lin Qingshe recounted what happened after he fell into a coma. Not long after he fell unconscious, the secret realm dissipated, and everyone inside the secret realm was transported out. Many people were injured, some even missing limbs. Fortunately, the sect leaders and elders of various righteous sects were present, and they were able to provide immediate treatment. The sect leader of the Immortal Gate, Lin Qingshui's senior brother, and Lu Chuan's master were also present. After a brief explanation of the situation, the 2 of them were quickly brought back to the sect for treatment. After observing for a while and confirming that there was no danger, Lin Qingshe finally let go of her worries. She applied to the sect leader to bring Lu Chuan back to take care of him and obtained the sect leader's approval. With his meaningful smile, Lu Chuan was brought to her bedroom. Lin Qingshe also kept the secret of their dual cultivation and obtaining the spiritual sword. She wanted to give this sword to Lu Chuan. If she told the sect leader, the sword would most likely be taken into the sect's treasure vault. Thank you. Thanks to you, so many righteous sect disciples were saved. You are the hero of all of us. Actually, I am the antagonist. Lu Chuan complained in his heart. Lin Qingshe took out the ice soul sword from her storage ring and handed it to Lu Chuan. You take this. Lu Chuan took the ice soul sword, gripping it tightly. It's cold. A voice from the system appeared in Lu Chuan's mind. Mission complete. Obtain the ice soul sword. Reward. Physique, flawless sword body. 100 points. Current physique. Chaos immortal physique body refining, flawless sword body, sword cultivation. Remaining points. 104. Lu Chuan suppressed his joy and pretended to ask with a puzzled expression, what is this? This is a spiritual sword obtained in the secret realm. The final illusion we experienced was its test of recognition. You and I have both been recognized by it, Lin Qingshe continued. She continued, you've only been in the Immortal Gate for half a year and don't have your own spirit treasure. This sword is at least an 8th grade. Take it and refine it. It will be of great use to you. I know you're not a sword cultivator, but I still want to give it to you. Lu Chuan pretended to be surprised. 8th grade. Senior, you should keep it. Your disciple can't bear such a heavy treasure. Don't refuse, just keep it. What's our relationship? Well, I still have to go and see the new disciples, competition in the inner sect. You rest here. Her voice became smaller and faster, and she quickly ran away. Lu Chuan smiled at this. She's forcing herself to speak because she's shy. What kind of relationship do we have? Apart from knowing each other's strengths and weaknesses, our relationship can be considered as close friends. As for the matter of dual cultivation, since she said not to mention it, he would pretend to have forgotten. Externally, she appeared cold as ice, but deep down, she was a gentle and kind person. The only question was which side she would stand on in the future. As a friend on Lu Chuan's side, or as a disciple of the protagonist. Wait a minute. Did she say she was going to watch the inner sect's new disciples competition? The protagonist's first appearance was in the sect's competition in the inner sect. The elders of the sect were required to watch the competition and select disciples they favored to accept as direct disciples. The protagonist overcame all obstacles along the way, defeating those who had looked down on him and humiliated him with his strong abilities. The protagonist, Luoli, who shone brightly in the competition, naturally became the elder's favorite. However, Luoli chose the quietest Lin Qingshe as his master because she had saved him in the mortal world. Lu Chuan couldn't miss the protagonist's first appearance. Following the route in his memory, he hurried to the side of the competition stage, where inner sect disciples, outer sect disciples, and some favored direct disciples were gathered. The final of the inner sect competition is about to begin. The participants are Luoli and Sima Dong. The one speaking was the referee of the competition, flying on his flying spirit treasure above the competition stage, announcing the start of the competition. Beside him were the elders of the Immortal Gate. Various flying spirit treasures, lotus seats, and blankets, but the most romantic in the cultivation world was still the flying sword. Lin Qingshe was also among them. She was forced to watch the competition, but her mind was not on it. She occasionally turned her head to look in the direction of her mountain. Lu Chuan saw Lin Qingshe at a glance and became worried when he saw her absent-mindedness. What's wrong with senior martial uncle? I'll ask her after the competition. For now, watching the competition is more important. The protagonist, Luoli, successfully made it to the finals. The participants are on stage. Lu Chuan, who was biased, initially thought the tall one was the protagonist. But when that person came on stage, he smirked and sneered at Luoli, expressing his disdain. Ha ha ha, Luoli, I didn't expect to meet you in the finals. Do your best to hold on a little longer and let me enjoy it. Luoli just clasped his fists and replied with a clear voice, please enlighten me. Lu Chuan couldn't believe it. The protagonist seemed too delicate and beautiful. Just by listening to his voice, he would even think it was a girl's voice. No matter what, he was the protagonist, and Lu Chuan couldn't be careless. At this moment, the voice of the system reappeared. Mission: defeat the winner of this battle and steal the protagonist's limelight. Reward: 150 points. Spell: disguise technique. On the stage, the top contenders of the Immortal Gate are competing. The winner will receive the attention of the sect and become the most promising new star of the Immortal Gate. In the audience, spectators are marveling at the exciting battle and discussing who will be the victor. Meanwhile, Lu Chuan is contemplating the usefulness of disguise techniques. The ability to change one's appearance and aura into that of another person, undetectable by anyone other than a true immortal. Using someone else's face to do bad things, gaining villain points. He couldn't think of any other uses, but having multiple skills is never a burden. Perhaps disguise techniques will play a crucial role unexpectedly. And then there's Sima Dong on the stage. Although he also comes from the prestigious Sima family of the apex-level cultivation world and has good talent, he has a bad personality. He always clashes with the protagonist and can only compete with him in the early stages. After the midterm, he disappears completely, serving as a pure stepping stone. HMPH, you've managed to hold on for so long in my hands. It will be quite a story when it gets out. I'm tired of your tricks, now I'm going to use my full strength. Prepare to die. Sima Dong's words brought Lu Chuan's attention back to the stage. The spiritual sword directly aimed at Luo Li's face. Luo Li took a step back and raised her sword to deflect the incoming spiritual sword, skillfully neutralizing its powerful impact. Lu Chuan also noticed some clues. This Luo Li is not simple. Sima young master will surely win. Look at Luo Li, she was so hyped before, claiming to be a sword prodigy, but she can't even hold her ground against Sima Dong. In the eyes of the people below the stage, Luo Li is at a disadvantage, only able to defend herself without any opportunity to attack. But Lu Chuan doesn't think so. Sima Dong's sword technique is a straightforward and powerful move. If hit, it could shatter bones, but it is ultimately just brute force. On the other hand, Luo Li's sword technique, although seemingly weak, hides strength. She skillfully neutralizes the opponent's moves and then seizes the opportunity to launch her own attack. As long as Luo Li finds an opportunity, breaking the deadlock is easy. And indeed, with continuous attacks, Sima Dong begins to lose control of his breathing. His stamina is depleting too quickly, and more openings are exposed. Luo Li defends while using her sword to attack the openings. Luo Li's counterattack has begun. She targets the openings, and every attack forces Sima Dong to retract his sword and defend horizontally. Talented, Sima Dong is truly talented. I rarely feel the urge to take on a disciple. He is indeed a promising talent, but Luo Li's understanding of swordsmanship far surpasses Sima Dong. I see a connection between me and these two youngsters. I hope none of you will compete with me, senior brother. The elders above closely observe the competition stage. Seeing the spectacular exchange between the two, they start to vie for Luo Li and Sima Dong to become their disciples. Only Lin Qingxie in the corner is not interested in the competition. She came to watch reluctantly. The sect leader told her yesterday, "You haven't attended the previous competitions, why not come and watch the finals tomorrow? Maybe you'll have the idea of taking on a disciple. You've been alone on this mountain for 100 years. It's time to find a successor." For the past few days, she has been taking care of the unconscious Lu Chuan in the bedroom on the mountain. Taking care of him, or simply being by his side. Hearing the praise from her senior brothers and sisters beside her about a junior, she curiously glanced at the competition stage a few times. The newcomer named Luo Li indeed performed impressively. Her attacks were swift and precise, without any unnecessary movements. She searched for opportunities to counterattack while defending. With such swordsmanship, her resilience and patience in cultivating the Dao are rare. Sima Dong is also decent, using an offensive sword technique as a defense. As long as he doesn't make any major mistakes in the future, he can also achieve something in the path of the sword. She admires such juniors, but even if she wants to take on disciples, how can she compete with her senior brothers and sisters? It's better to return to the mountain early. Even if Lu Chuan is sleeping, as long as she is by his side, she will feel at ease. The sect leader mentioned the idea of taking on disciples, and she did feel a flicker of interest, but the intended disciple is already decided by the sect leader. As Luo Li approaches step by step, Sima Dong is forced into a corner of the competition stage. Sima Dong has exhausted most of his stamina and can no longer launch an attack. He can't even maintain a defensive posture. "You've lost," Luo Li calmly says to Sima Dong. Sima Dong's veins bulge as he shouts at Luo Li, How could I, the young master, be defeated by trash like you? I am a genius, while you are just some garbage who came out of nowhere. Since you started this deception, don't blame me. In the blink of an eye, the situation on the stage reverses, and Luo Li's sword is knocked away. Luo Li stands motionless in front of Sima Dong. Ha ha ha, in the end, I am still superior in skill. Sima Dong thrusts his sword into Luo Li's arm, and blood seeps out, staining her white shirt red. Do you still refuse to admit defeat, you insignificant fish? Sima Dong, considering himself the victor, sneered contemptuously. HMPH. Luo Li coldly snorted. Seeing Luo Li's refusal to accept defeat, Sima Dong arrogantly laughed and exerted force with the sword in his hand. The sword pierced through Luo Li's arm. Luo Li furrowed her brows, sweat trickling down her face. She felt the pain, but she would never surrender to such a deceitful person. Sima Dong must have used some kind of prohibited immobilizing item, but he was able to bring it onto the martial arts stage, indicating that the organizers must have their own insiders. During their time in the inner sect, Sima Dong often bullied weaker disciples of the same sect, taking away their cultivation resources by relying on his family background and swordsmanship. Despite coming from a prestigious family, he took pleasure in bullying the weak. Once, Sima Dong's little group bullied the weak in front of Luo Li, and she couldn't help but intervene. Since then, she had a grudge with Sima Dong. He targeted her in every possible way, spreading rumors about her, such as being kept by a wealthy senior sister, or having multiple romantic partners among senior sisters and junior sisters. They didn't know that Luo Li was a woman, and such rumors had no effect on her. She came to the Immortal Gate to seek the Tao, not to find a Tao companion. Luo Li would never surrender to such a shameless person. You, someone like you, don't deserve to win. With all her strength, Luo Li squeezed out these words. Sima Dong was completely infuriated, embarrassed and angry. He swiftly drew his sword and stabbed towards Luo Li's neck. Sima Dong missed, and in an instant, Luo Li disappeared before his eyes. He looked at the immobilizing stone in his pocket, feeling puzzled. How did Luo Li dodge that attack while being immobilized by the stone? People said you don't deserve to win, didn't you hear? Lu Chuan jumped onto the martial arts stage and carried Luo Li down, taking the long sword from her hand. He approached Luo Li's delicate and tender ear and whispered softly, "Leave the rest to me." Returning to the martial arts stage, Lu Chuan faced Sima Dong directly. Sima Dong asked, "Who are you, another insignificant fish? How dare you challenge this young master? I am Lu Chuan. I just can't stand someone as shameless as you and want to teach you a lesson. Can't handle it." Upon hearing the name Lu Chuan, Sima Dong immediately thought of the prestigious Lu family of cultivation. Are you from the Lu family, brother? You don't need to know so much. Fight or not, you've consumed a lot of spiritual energy, I won't use any, you can do as you please. Let's fight, you ignorant brat, I'll show you the power of the #1 genius in the inner sect of the Immortal Gate. Above the martial arts stage, the referee was about to intervene when Lu Chuan rushed onto the stage, but a white-haired and youthful-looking old man stopped him. Elder, wait a moment, the old man with long white eyebrows called out to the referee. I know that kid, his name is Lu Chuan. He should have participated in the inner sect competition, but he was seriously injured not long ago and just woke up these past few days. He said he won't use spiritual energy, only swordsmanship. But Sima Dong is not restricted, let those two have some fun. The referee dared not defy the decision of the sect leader and could only remain silent. Sima Dong had promised him many benefits this time and asked him to take care of Lu Chuan, but he couldn't change what the sect leader had said. Lin Qingshe vaguely heard the name Lu Chuan and looked towards the sect leader. The sect leader stroked his long beard and gave Lin Qingshe a signal to look down. Lin Qingshe saw the familiar figure on the martial arts stage and felt puzzled. How did Lu Chuan end up on the martial arts stage? Luo Li, who was watching from below, took some pills to recover. She stared intently at Lu Chuan on the stage. When she suddenly couldn't move just now, it was probably because Sima Dong used a restraining law treasure. As the legitimate son of the Sima family, it wasn't surprising for him to have several law treasure spirit weapons. He should have been prepared. She had been too careless. But who was this Lu Chuan? Why had she never heard of him in the inner sect? When Sima Dong swung his sword just now, although Luo Li appeared calm on the surface, she was actually afraid, her heart pounding. When Lu Chuan held her, the feeling of fear was replaced by a sudden sense of security. She wanted to see who Lu Chuan really was. The onlookers were also curious. Discussions about Lu Chuan could be heard all around. Sima Dong mobilizes spiritual energy and attaches it to the sword to enhance the power and speed of the sword. Before this, Lu Chuan had sparred with many sword experts in Lin Qingshui's illusion. For him, Sima Dong's moves were not impressive. Since he was facing someone of similar level to Lu Li, forcing him to use his strongest move would also help him understand Lu Li's strength. Lu Chuan easily dodged Sima Dong's attacks from all directions, appearing relaxed. Is this your level, young Master Sima? Lu Chuan laughed mockingly, aren't you a sword genius? Is this all you've got? Veins bulged on Sima Dong's forehead as he gritted his teeth. All his attacks were evaded, which made him feel very frustrated. When he had sparred with Lu Li earlier, Lu Li had used a sword for defense, but the person in front of him hadn't even raised a sword yet. Sima Dong felt looked down upon by a random kid. As long as he landed one hit, he was confident he could defeat Lu Chuan directly. You coward who only knows how to dodge. If you dare, take my sword. Oh, how about this, you use your strongest move, I'll stand still and let you attack. If I can withstand your next move, you admit defeat. How about that? You arrogant little fish, you dare to say that? Fine, let me show you my strongest move. Sima Dong rarely paused his attack, closed his eyes, and raised his sword high. The crowd above the arena saw Sima Dong's posture and became excited. Is it that move? The Sima family's secret sword technique. I've heard about it before. They say Sima Dong once used this move to defeat a cultivator at the foundation building stage. I've never heard of Lu Chuan at the Immortal Gate before, he should be a newcomer in the inner sect. He couldn't possibly withstand this attack. It should be noted that the disciples participating in the inner sect competition were still at the Qi refining stage. Those who reached the foundation building stage before the age of 30 were considered geniuses. The gap between the Qi refining stage and the foundation building stage was even greater than that between the foundation building stage and the gold core stage. It was the difference between mortals and true cultivators. Qi refining stage cultivators couldn't even perform basic sword flying, while foundation building stage cultivators could do various things with abundant spiritual energy. Being able to defeat a foundation building stage cultivator while at the Qi refining stage was enough to prove the power of this sword technique. In the air above the arena, Lin Qingshui saw this scene and became extremely anxious. There must be something fishy about Sima Dong's victory in the previous battle, but she didn't want to get involved and remained silent. But she didn't expect Lu Chuan to suddenly appear and challenge Sima Dong. Lu Chuan had just woken up not long ago, and he might not have fully recovered. How could they let him participate in the competition? And his opponent was Sima Dong. Sima Dong's swordsmanship level was not low, and he was also good at deception. What if Lu Chuan got injured? No, she had to stop the match. Just as Lin Qingshui was about to move, the sect master sent her a message. Sister Lin, don't worry. Lu Chuan is my disciple, and I know him quite well. He won't easily do something he's not sure of. Just watch. After hearing this, although she still couldn't accept it, what else could she do when her master had spoken? She had to give up. She focused her attention on the arena. If Lu Chuan was in danger, she would rush down immediately. The sect master, Zhang Junhai, stroked his long beard and looked at Lin Qingshui's anxious expression with a satisfied smile. He had watched Lin Qingshui grow up. After Lin Qingshui's master passed away, she had been obsessed with cultivation and had no interest in other things. He had always worried that Lin Qingshui would be trapped by the past and eventually go astray. But now, the cultivation maniac who only knew how to cultivate all day long was actually worried about someone else. He never expected that his newly accepted disciple would change her. No need to worry about this little junior sister anymore. He could finally put his mind at ease. He just didn't know what attitude Lu Chuan had towards Lin Qingshui. He would have to ask him another day. This wasn't gossip, he was just concerned about whether his junior sister and disciple were getting along well. Ha ha ha, Lu Chuan, my flame fire sword is ready. Are you ready to die? Sima Dong's sword turned crimson, and the audience below could feel the heat emanating from it. As long as they were grazed by this sword, scorching heat would rush into their bodies through the wound, disrupting the flow of spiritual energy from within. Such domineering and malicious swordsmanship. Stop talking nonsense and come at me. Lu Chuan also posed tiredly. Furthermore, his so-called flame fire sword is just compressing the spiritual energy in his body into fire and attaching it to the blade of the sword. Lu Chuan can also do it. He just promised not to use spiritual energy against him, otherwise, he could also create a replica. You're so eager to die, you'll be the first. Sima Dong launched a crazy attack, his flame fire sword increasing both speed and power by more than one level. With each swing of his sword, waves of heat rushed towards Lu Chuan. The sword itself was easy to dodge, but the heat was difficult to block. Lu Chuan also felt a bit tricky. After a few more moves, piles of heat would surround him, cutting off the air. He couldn't hold his breath yet at the foundation building stage, he would suffocate and faint from lack of oxygen. Since he had witnessed Sima Dong's ultimate move and had a rough grasp of Luoli's current strength, this farce should come to an end. Tai Chi sword, activate. What is that? I have never seen such a clever sword technique. It's not a sword technique, I can't feel any fluctuations of spiritual energy from him. The elders were discussing fervently, all amazed by Lu Chuan's moves. That's just pure swordsmanship. Lin Qingshe, who had been silent all along, suddenly spoke up. As someone who specialized in swordsmanship, Lin Qingshui's words silenced the elders. Lu Chuan was using the fitness swordsmanship he had learned during his university days in his previous life, the Tai Chi sword. Using softness to overcome hardness, using weakness to show the enemy, turning the enemy's attacks into counterattacks. Guided by the Tai Chi sword, the heat emitted by Sima Dong's flame fire sword was redirected back to him by Lu Chuan's sword. A few seconds later, Sima Dong's body was covered in numerous wounds, and waves of heat continuously entered his meridians through the wounds. Seeing Sima Dong's painful expression, Lu Chuan felt quite relieved. Shall we continue, young Master Sima? Sima Dong didn't know why his swordsmanship was hurting himself, but he couldn't care about that now. Lu Chuan had been mocking him since he stepped onto the stage, and he had never been so humiliated. I am the next head of the Sima family, a destined genius. How could I lose to a nobody like you? Ignoring the pain from his wounds, Sima Dong mobilized more spiritual energy, making his attacks more fierce and fast. But under the influence of Lu Chuan's Tai Chi sword, all the sword energy he swung out was completely returned. His clothes had already been burned off, and his whole body was covered in wounds. Just one strike is enough, just one sword. How could my young master Sima lose to this unknown cannon fodder? Oh, I still have the immobilization stone. Sima Dong thought. He wanted to take out the immobilization stone and use the immobilization technique to immobilize Lu Chuan. You never learn. Lu Chuan lost his patience and wouldn't give Sima Dong another chance. At the moment he took out the immobilization stone, Lu Chuan pierced his hand with his sword. Ding! A smooth and transparent stone fell to the ground. Lu Chuan smiled kindly. Young Master Sima, can you explain what this is? Sima Dong's whole body was burned and wounded, plus the huge wound on his hand, he had already lost too much blood. Anger, disbelief, and shame of wanting to argue surged within him. Sima Dong fainted. The elders and onlookers looked at the special stone and the unconscious Sima Dong on the ground. A mobilization stone. Someone in the crowd recognized this spirit weapon. This is a type of spirit treasure, it's quite valuable. Its function is to immobilize living creatures in front of it. Luoli found out why she suddenly stood still in the last match. Look, the referee spoke up. Zhang Junhai stroked his long beard with one hand and waved his hand towards the referee beside him with the other. No need to say more, the winner has been decided. The referee descended from the sky onto the martial arts stage. I announce that the winner of this battle is Lu Chuan. Very good. The head with crane-like hair and a youthful face laughed heartily as he descended from the sky. Lu Chuan performed well, worthy of being my closed-door disciple. Behind him was Lin Qingshe, who had secretly followed him down. Greetings, Master. All the audience bowed and saluted the Master. As the contemporary Master, Zhang Junhai may not have the highest cultivation or the strongest fighting skills in the Immortal Gate, but he is definitely the most respected. For several hundred years, he has stepped forward multiple times during critical moments for the sect, unwilling to abandon any disciple. He is a hero who is willing to sacrifice himself for the Immortal Gate. No need to be so formal, I am just an old man on his deathbed. The future of the Immortal Gate belongs to all of you. Let me introduce you to Lu Chuan, who suddenly appeared earlier. He is my closed-door disciple. He is from the same generation as all of you and should have participated in this competition. However, he was injured during a mission and only recovered today. I was worried that you would not accept him as your senior brother, but now it seems that he has become the first-place winner in the internal disciples competition. Who among you still wants to challenge him? If you win, I will make an exception and accept you as my disciple. Everyone shook their heads in silence, causing the master to burst into laughter. Afterwards, the master explained how Lu Chuan went out on a mission, how he deciphered the core, and how many righteous cultivators he saved. When the master came down, everyone's attention was on him, allowing Lu Chuan to slip into the corner of the crowd. Congratulations, host, on completing the mission. The rewards have been distributed. Learned skill, disguise technique. Received 150 points for the villain's score. Current physique. Chaotic immortal physique, body refining, flawless sword body, sword cultivation. Learned skill, great accomplishment in disguise technique. Remaining points, 254. After completing the mission, there was a sense of joy in the harvest. With each improvement, the probability of surviving under the protagonist's command increased. Although the course of events had deviated from the plot of the novel. System, if I don't participate, will Luo Li still have a desperate comeback and defeat Sima Dong, as written in the original plot? Lu Chuan couldn't help but ask the system. Luo Li is controlled by the petrification stone, and the outcome is already determined. If the host doesn't participate, the elders will still come down and announce Sima Dong as the winner. Why is it different from the novel's plot? Lu Chuan asked in confusion. Perhaps it's the butterfly effect caused by the host's actions. This is reality, where even a small change can alter the outcome. It's impossible for everything to follow the development in the novel. The system's words reminded Lu Chuan that he needed to consider unexpected situations. Perhaps one day, the protagonist would discover that he was a villain and come to kill him in advance. Under the premise of completing the mission, it would be best to pretend to be harmless. Be low-key in normal times and avoid attracting attention. Senior brother Lu Chuan. Luo Li found Lu Chuan in the crowd and tapped him on the shoulder. Lu Chuan turned around and saw Luo Li, immediately putting away the system as if facing a formidable enemy. He asked cautiously, "What do you want from me?" "Senior brother, you just stood up for me and vented my anger. I came here to thank you. I just couldn't stand that petty Sima Dong, playing tricks on the stage. There's no need to thank me." Upon hearing this, Luo Li knew that this senior brother was also a person of character, someone who liked to act righteously. She felt a slight fondness for him. "By the way, senior brother, many elders came to me just now, wanting to accept me as their direct disciple. Do you have any suggestions?" Of course, Lu Chuan had to guide the plot in the direction he was familiar with. "I see that you are skilled in swordsmanship. Among the elders who excel in swordsmanship in the Immortal Gate, there is one named Lin Qingshe. You can go and pay your respects to her as your master. You will surely achieve great things in the future." Following the plot, Luo Li would eventually become a true immortal, stepping on various immortal emperors, and having relationships with various saintess witches. This was a great achievement. "Senior brother, you overestimate me. I only have a slight understanding of swordsmanship compared to you. I need to learn more from you, senior brother. The elder Lin Qingshe that Lu Chuan mentioned, I actually know her. She saved my life when I was still in the mortal world. I didn't expect her to be an immortal of the Immortal Gate. Lin Qingshe helps others without asking for anything in return, nor does she leave any reputation behind. She simply can't stand by and watch. What's wrong with me?" Lin Qingshe took some time to find Lu Chuan in the crowd, coincidentally overhearing the conversation between Luo Li and Lu Chuan about apprenticeship. Mainly because the master's praise of Lu Chuan deeply touched her, she had been listening in the front row for a while. The admiring expressions on the disciples' faces around her were quite interesting. How about that? Lu Chuan is amazing. Why did you only realize it now? Lin Qingshe wanted to say loudly to these people. Why are you here, senior aunt? Lin Qingshe raised her fair hand and tapped Lu Chuan's forehead. I came here out of concern for your condition, but it seems I interrupted your romantic conversation with your junior sister, Lin Qingshe thought to herself. I wasn't having a romantic conversation with anyone, and besides, Luoli is my junior brother, Lu Chuan replied truthfully. Despite Luoli's petite figure and handsome face, Lu Chuan acknowledged that he was indeed a man. Nice to meet you, Elder Lin, Luoli greeted Lin Qingshe respectfully. However, observing their interaction, it was hard to believe that they had an elder and junior relationship. This made others curious about their connection. HMPH. Lin Qingshe didn't believe that Luoli was a man and thought Lu Chuan was playing a trick on her. Uncle, Luoli is talking to you. Give him a response. He might even want to become your disciple, Lin Qingshe said. Our sect only accepts male disciples, Lin Qingshe replied. In that case, uncle, what about you? Lu Chuan had experienced many encounters with Lin Qingshe and knew better than anyone whether Lin Qingshe was a man or a woman. Elder Lin, I am indeed a man. Do you remember saving me in the capital of Sha Kingdom, 5,000 miles north of the Immortal Gate? I am interested in swordsmanship and have great admiration for you. I would like to become your disciple, Luoli explained. While saying this, Luoli felt a bit nervous, fearing rejection, but more importantly, fearing that her true identity as a woman would be exposed. Since fleeing from Sha Kingdom, she had possessed a high-level spirit treasure that could disrupt others' perception abilities, making it impossible for others to determine her gender based on her aura. Since entering the Immortal Gate, she had been disguising herself as a man named Luoli, and she had never revealed her secret to anyone. She had hidden it well. Calculating the time, she had been living as a man for 5 years and was confident in not being exposed. Lu Chuan suggested, Elder Lin, since you have such a connection, why not just accept him as your disciple? After all, your swordsmanship needs a successor. Lu Chuan's suggestion made sense, and Lin Qingshe realized that it was indeed time for her to take on a disciple. From today onwards, Luoli, you are my disciple, Lin Qingshe. Pack your belongings and come back to the sect with me later, Lin Qingshe declared. Disciple Luoli pays respects to master, Luoli said happily. Lu Chuan was truly her lucky star, and she was determined to get along well with him. We don't have many formalities in our sect. Just do what you need to do. You can move to the sect tonight, Lin Qingshe instructed. Yes, master. I will go back to my residence in the inner sect to get my things, Luoli bowed to both of them before leaving to retrieve her luggage. Not long after Luoli left, the sect leader finished his speech. He exaggerated Lu Chuan's experiences in the secret realm and praised him highly, using him as an example for the disciples of the Immortal Gate. Above the martial arts stage, the elders were discussing the unlimited potential of the Immortal Gate's future. With disciples like Luoli, how can the Immortal Gate not prosper? In recent years, the evil cultivator Demon Dao has been causing trouble, and there are rumors of the decline of the righteous path. But today, with talented disciples like Luoli and Lu Chuan, who is loyal and righteous, those rumors will be debunked. Ha ha ha, the sect leader has truly gained an excellent disciple. What great fortune! The disciples watching cheered and discussed Lu Chuan loudly. Senior brother is truly extraordinary. That despicable Sima scoundrel should be grateful for losing to senior brother Lu Chuan. Weren't you just calling him young Master Sima? Why the change in tone? That Sima scoundrel not only made me lose my capital, but now I owe money to the house. I'm being generous by not calling him my son. These words caused many disciples to burst into laughter. Lu Chuan, as the winner of the inter-sect competition, was truly admired by everyone. Lin Qingshe couldn't help but laugh at his expense. Lin Qingshe, dressed in Taoist robes, had a unique beauty. The original story portrayed her as cold and emotionally restrained, but now she was laughing uncontrollably by his side. Once again, Lu Chuan felt that this world was not entirely following the plot. Although Blue Star was his hometown, he had been abandoned by the world. On the other hand, the cultivation world was not as one-sided as depicted in novels, with clear distinctions between good and evil. Instead, it was filled with vibrant, real people with desires and emotions. Compared to his previous life, where he lived aimlessly for the sake of empty promises, he now felt more alive. It has been several days since the end of the grand competition. Lu Chuan naturally became the new senior brother of the sect, ranking second in the internal competition. Simadong was punished with a lower ranking and had to do a lot of labor as a way to apologize for his offense. Everyone was happy, except Lin Qingshe, who hasn't been feeling well lately. She feels like she's sick. When she cultivates, she can't concentrate like before and is always distracted. Even when she tries to relax and sleep at night, she dreams about Lu Chuan. The details of their dual cultivation in the secret realm are vividly reproduced in her dreams. After waking up, she feels empty. Even though they were intimate in her dreams, he is not by her side when she wakes up. Lin Qingshe doesn't know what's wrong with her. Maybe it's the aftermath of the dragon poison, or maybe she's just sick. She plans to ask the elder of the Medicine Valley for some medicine another day. As she comes out of her room, she sees Lu Chuan practicing swordsmanship in the courtyard. It's not just Lin Qingshe alone on the mountain anymore. Her room is on the mountaintop, while Lu Chuan's room is arranged halfway up the mountain. Although the reason given is for her convenience in taking care of the spiritual herbs grown on the mountain, only she knows the real purpose. If Lu Chuan were to come looking for her and be seen by the newly accepted disciples, she wouldn't know where to put her face as their master. But it's true that Lu Chuan is indeed a talent. His talent in swordsmanship is terrifying, whether it's his comprehension of the sword or his understanding of sword techniques in actual combat. Lu Chuan's understanding surpasses that of a qi refining stage cultivator like him. Coupled with his diligent cultivation and serious personality, he will definitely become a great figure in the future. The master's swordsmanship has found a successor, thanks to Lu Chuan's introduction. Without him, she wouldn't have been able to overcome her inner demons. Without him, how could a genius like Lu Chuan have joined her sect? Lu Chuan, what are you doing now? Lin Qingshe mutters. Master, what did you say? Upon hearing Lin Qingshui's voice, Lu Chuan puts away his sword and bows to her. I've told you so many times, no need to bow after greeting. Lin Qingshe pretends to be angry, but she's actually trying to cover up what she just said. Yes, master. Lu Chuan smiles and takes out a handkerchief to wipe away the sweat on his forehead. Compared to the crowded courtyard in the inner sect, she prefers living here. The disciples in the inner sect are mainly focused on competition. They all want to know each other's secrets and learn from each other's cultivation techniques, gaining an advantage. Here, she doesn't have to worry about all that. There's a quiet cultivation environment and a master who can answer her questions. The master not only takes great care of her cultivation, but also takes care of her daily life. He personally built her house, provided her with spirit stones for cultivation, and there is a large garden of flowers and plants on the mountain. Since she ran away from home, these past few days have been the most relaxed and comfortable in nearly 10 years. Thanks to senior brother Lu Chuan, if it weren't for his intervention, she wouldn't have been able to join Master Lin Qingshui's sect so easily. She has a clear sense of love and hate, and repays kindness with gratitude. Those who have persecuted her will eventually be killed by her. As for her master and senior brother, she will definitely fulfill their requests and repay their kindness. At this moment, Lu Chuan is in his room, worrying about the Ice Soul Sword. Wasn't he supposed to have an unparalleled understanding of swords as the flawless sword body? Why is this sword so unresponsive? In the original work, the Ice Soul Sword had a sword spirit. As a 9th grade spiritual sword, it was already a divine weapon, so it wasn't strange for it to have a spirit. After inheriting it, Lu Chuan's sword spirit appeared and became his advisor, increasing his combat power. Since returning to the sect, Lu Chuan has been trying to summon the sword spirit, but no matter how hard he tries, it doesn't work. The system knows nothing and only urges Lu Chuan to find Lin Qingshe to trigger the antagonist's mission. Could it be that only Lin Qingshe can summon the sword spirit, and he can't? He should go find her, demonstrate some moves, and let her touch the Ice Soul Sword. Maybe the sword spirit will awaken. Lu Chuan thinks he's a genius. Knock, knock, knock. Lu Chuan, are you in your room? The door was knocked, followed by the elderly voice of Zhang Junhai. Master, I'm here. Lu Chuan put away the frost sword and stood up to greet the sect master. You should go to Lin Shimei's place in the next few days and pass on a message to her newly accepted disciple. Lu Chuan didn't immediately realize who Lin Shimei was referring to, but then he remembered that it was Lin Qingshe. He should indeed go to Luoli's side and take advantage of the fact that he still doesn't have any hostile thoughts towards him, so he can complete more antagonist tasks and improve his own strength. To put it bluntly, in this treacherous cultivation world, one's background is just an illusion. When facing enemies, only true strength matters. I have plans. Luoli is skilled with the sword, and I want to have a match with him. Ha ha ha, I didn't know you were like this, always finding excuses. The old man with white hair and a youthful appearance had a mischievous expression on his face. You haven't seen your senior brother Lin these past few days, and you're itching to see him, right? Master, please don't tease me. I only have admiration and longing for senior brother Lin. Lu Chuan didn't expect his lenient master to say something that sounded like teasing, so he explained it specifically. He and Lin Qingshe were currently just friends, and they had agreed not to mention the matter of dual cultivation beneath the cliff. His current goal was still to improve his own strength. Although he was at the foundation building stage, one realm higher than the protagonist Luoli, he couldn't be sure that Luoli wasn't hiding his true strength. Upon hearing Lu Chuan's words, Zhang Junhai laughed again. I understand. You only have a nephew's affection for her, I understand. You understand my ass. Lu Chuan really wanted to punch this unorthodox sect master, but unfortunately, he couldn't beat him. Master, let's get to the point. Alright, you go tell Lin Shimei's disciple that he has obtained the qualification to comprehend the sacred land of the sect. Gather in front of the sacred land in a week. I suddenly had a flash of inspiration these past 2 days and want to seclude myself for a period of time. If you have any cultivation issues, don't go find Lin Shimei. You should also go to comprehend in a week. Just go to Elder Wang Song in front of the sacred land. Lu Chuan understood the situation and said, Understood, master. You can rest assured and seclude yourself. You don't need to worry about your disciple. Take these with you, I'll go ahead. Zhang Junhai took out a storage ring and gave it to Lu Chuan. He summoned a crane and flew to his seclusion place, leaving behind these words, Don't embarrass me. I have thin skin. Lu Chuan replied, I won't embarrass you, old man. Opening the storage ring, there were some basic pills and spirit stones for cultivation, enough for an ordinary qi refining cultivator to use for 1 or 2 years. Lu Chuan chuckled. It seemed that his lenient master really valued him. He wondered if his master valued him as a person or valued the Lu family behind him. There were hundreds of sects in the cultivation world, and countless cultivation families. The Lu family was the top family in the entire cultivation world, and it was said that they had their own influence in various immortal sects. As the legitimate son of the Lu family, Lu Chuan becoming the sect master's direct disciple in the Hope Immortal Gate was naturally effortless. Speaking of the Lu family, Lu Chuan remembered that he still had a maid. The maid was about the same age as Lu Chuan, and they grew up together. The maid was responsible for taking care of Lu Chuan. After entering the Hope Immortal Gate, Lu Chuan, who hadn't awakened his memories yet, found her annoying and drove her away to fend for herself in the mortal world. Lu Chuan's first half of his life was just like the Lu Chuan in the original work, appearing to be the noble young master of the Lu family, but behind the scenes, he did countless bad things. Lu Chuan felt a bit guilty. He felt that his previous self was not like himself. From now on, he would refer to his pre-memory awakening self as the original owner, so he would feel less guilty. It was not easy for a weak woman to live alone in the mortal world. It would be good to inquire about her situation when he had the chance. Thinking all the way, Lu Chuan stepped on his flying sword and arrived at Lin Qingshui's place. Master, senior brother Lu Chuan is here. Luoli was practicing the sword technique that Lin Qingshui had just taught him. When he saw Lu Chuan flying towards his mountain, he suddenly said, Ah, who's here? Lin Qingshui, who had been melancholic before, suddenly became spirited upon hearing Luoli's words. No longer feeling sore in her waist, no longer feeling pain in her legs, and her voice was no longer as weak as if she was about to run out of breath. Luoli was speechless. His master really had special thoughts about senior brother Lu Chuan. It would be better for her to pretend not to know. Lin Qingshe hurriedly came out of the bedroom and stood in front of Lu Chuan, afraid of appearing too enthusiastic. Forcing herself to calm down, she put on a cold tone and said, "Lu Chuan, why are you here?" Hearing her words, Luoli, who was practicing swordsmanship nearby, felt a headache. The tone of Lin Qingshui's speech was like that of a woman in a quarrel in love. There was something behind her words, actually blaming Lu Chuan for not coming for so many days. Deep down, she really wanted to see senior brother Lu Chuan. So what exactly is their relationship, fellow disciples? It doesn't seem like it. Why does it feel like the master is pursuing Lu Chuan? This is a stark contrast to the image of the proud and unyielding female sword cultivator she imagined. Let Luoli calm down first and practice the basic sword techniques of the Immortal Gate a few times to calm down. Master asked me to pass on a message. Lu Chuan thought he had disturbed Lin Qingshui's cultivation, which was why she was in a bad mood. He briefly conveyed the message that the sect master wanted him to deliver, and then prepared to leave without disturbing her further. "You're leaving." Lin Qingshui's tone lost its emotion and became cold. If Lin Qingshui's tone just now was like a hint of autumn chill, then she was like a bone-chilling cold wind in the 12th lunar month. Lu Chuan came to her on his own initiative for the first time in so many days, and it turned out to be just to deliver a message. She had been thinking about him for so many days, and he came to say a few words and was ready to leave. Thinking of this, Lin Qingshe couldn't suppress her emotions and got angry for once. Luoli sensed that something was wrong and turned around, winking at Lu Chuan to indicate that he should say something nice. Seeing Luoli looking at him, Lu Chuan remembered the matter of the frost sword. "To be honest, Master Uncle," Lu Chuan said, facing the coldness emanating from Lin Qingshe, "I also want to spar with Luoli in swordsmanship." "Spar? Don't you have anything else to say?" Disciple apologizes to Master Uncle here for disturbing you. "You don't need to watch a spar, you can go about your own business." "So you're leaving because of me?" Lin Qingshui's tone was devoid of emotion. "Lu Chuan, you're bothered by me. Lu Chuan, you've forgotten about the good Master Uncle who protected you in front of the Red Dragon, took care of you when you were unconscious, and rushed to check on you right after the inner sect competition ended. Then you can spar by yourselves, I won't be in the way." Lin Qingshe finished speaking and left the mountain gate on her flying sword. Luoli heard a hint of sadness in Lin Qingshui's tone, and her strong-willed master actually shed tears for Lu Chuan. While feeling surprised, she also felt pity for her master, as well as anger towards Lu Chuan. He had looked quite handsome when he stood up on the martial arts stage before, so why is he so clueless in this situation? Luoli, today, will stand up for her master. It's just a sword fight, she is confident in her swordsmanship and won't lose to Lu Chuan. Half an incense stick later, Luoli was covered in sweat, while Lu Chuan calmly held the frost sword. "Senior brother, I admit defeat. That's not enough. Junior sister, you definitely didn't fight seriously." Lu Chuan's words were so grating to her ears. She was a cultivator specializing in swordsmanship, and swordsmanship was her path. But she had to admit that Lu Chuan's proficiency in swordsmanship was not something she could match at her current level. Throughout the entire sword fight, it was always Luoli attacking and Lu Chuan defending. Afterwards, it was like looking in a mirror. Lu Chuan would replicate the sword techniques Luoli had just used. Some sword techniques were originally meant for defense, but Lu Chuan used them in an offensive manner. Luoli deeply admired him, and what was even more surprising was that she had heard from Lin Qingshe before that Lu Chuan was not a sword cultivator and that swordsmanship was not his strong suit, he specialized in Taoist arts. "I apologize for not letting senior brother fully enjoy himself. I will double my efforts in cultivation. Next time, I will make senior brother take notice." When Lu Chuan used the sword, he didn't seem like the user of the sword, but more like the sword itself. She felt a profound understanding, and as long as she had some time to digest it, her swordsmanship would definitely improve by a level. During her previous match with Sima Dong, she didn't have any confidence in defeating his strong and domineering offensive swordsmanship. But after today, she was confident that she could defeat Sima Dong. Not with the same defensive and exhausting tactics as last time, but by directly overwhelming him. She had never been satisfied with losing to Sima Dong, a cunning and deceitful person. The next time she faced him, she would vent her anger. I'm not as powerful as you say, it's just that the sword in my hand is better than yours. The quality of the sword affects the outcome of the match. Take this sword and try it. Lu Chuan handed the frost sword to Luo Li. Luo Li knew that Lu Chuan's senior brother was giving her face. As long as the elders appreciated a talented and low-key junior like Lu Chuan, it was different for the master. She seemed to have some romantic feelings towards Lu Chuan. Taking the frost sword, Luo Li immediately felt its extraordinary nature. During her time in the mortal world, as a princess of a country, she had seen many spirit weapons, but none of them could compare to the sword in her hand. Luo Li wielded the frost sword and performed the basic sword techniques of the Immortal Gate. During the process, Luo Li felt that the sword in her hand was calling out to her, like a long-lost familiar friend. Her body seemed to merge with the sword, and the basic sword techniques that required some time were completed in the blink of an eye. Luo Li looked down at the frost sword in her hand, expressionless. This sword is truly an exceptional weapon. Then she looked up at Lu Chuan and continued, but a good sword cannot fulfill its purpose without a good owner. What do you mean? The intense match just now didn't make Lu Chuan break a sweat, but now cold sweat was dripping down his back. Luo Li, junior brother, do you want this sword? Lu Chuan asked tentatively. Unexpectedly, Luo Li suddenly laughed. What I mean is, only a senior brother like you, a genius, can be worthy of this treasure sword. Luo Li returned the sword to Lu Chuan. After the match with senior brother just now, I gained a lot. Now I want to contemplate and cultivate. Is there anything else senior brother needs? No, your cultivation is important. I happen to need to return to the sect. Lu Chuan took the frost sword and quickly flew out of the Lin Qingshe Peak using the flying sword technique. These days have been truly thrilling. Lu Chuan let out a sigh of relief. Back at the sect, he tried various methods to test the frost sword, but it showed no reaction. The matter of the sword spirit could be put aside for now. Looking towards the foot of the Immortal Gate mountain, mist surrounded the area, and the shadows of trees were scattered. A tall young man in Taoist robes stood at the entrance of the sect. Elder Nangong Shi, you're back. The gatekeeper recognized the young man as Nangong Shi, a well-known figure in the sect, and bowed to him. Has the internal disciples' grand competition ended? It ended several days ago. Nangong Shi nodded. It seems I spent quite some time on the journey. This time, he received a mission from the sect to go to the South Sea to handle disputes between the Sea tribe and the human tribe. It took him half a year to return to the sect. He wondered what place Sima Dong, his distant cousin, had achieved in the internal competition. He had spent a large sum of money to obtain a petrification stone for his distant cousin. He didn't know if it had been useful. Instead of going to his own peak at the Elder's Peak, he flew towards the Lin Qingshe Peak. During his trip to the South Sea, he obtained a 7th-grade spirit sword and intended to give it to Lin Qingshe. He had been pursuing Lin Qingshe for decades, and all the gifts he had given her had been rejected. He had already figured out Lin Qingshui's temperament and knew that she was usually interested in cultivation and sword practice. A good horse matches a good saddle, and a precious sword matches a beautiful woman. This time, Lin Qingshe definitely wouldn't be able to refuse him. As long as she accepted the first gift, she would accept the second, the third, and fall in love with him under the bombardment of gifts. Ha ha ha, Lin Qingshe, one day I will conquer you and make you willingly call me husband. When members of the Immortal Gate reach the nascent soul stage, they must choose whether to stay in the sect or go out and establish their own sect. Those who choose to stay in the sect will have to take on some responsibilities and contribute to the sect. In return, their status will change from ordinary disciples to elders of the sect. They will receive offerings and be allocated their own small mountain for cultivation. The Elder Peak is the collective term for the mountains where many elders reside. The higher the elder's status, the more central their mountain is located. The central peak of the Elder Peak is where the successive sect masters reside. Lin Qingshui's mountain gate is in a remote corner. After her master passed away, she chose not to select a new mountain gate and instead inherited her master's mountain gate as it was. Nangong Shi passed through the outer gate and inner gate in order and quickly arrived at Lin Qingshui's mountain gate located on the outskirts. Unlike in the past, there was a delicate young man practicing swordsmanship in the usually empty courtyard. The young man was not tall and appeared petite compared to himself. He held a long sword and was practicing the basic sword techniques of the Immortal Gate. His agile and clever sword dance surprised Nangongshi. Nangongshi landed and applauded, saying, "Wonderful, wonderful. May I ask who you are and what brings you here?" Luo Li saw a stranger approaching and stopped her sword dance to ask. Not knowing if the person was here to cause trouble, she tensed up. Although her tone was polite, she tightly gripped her sword with both hands. She didn't have any familiar people in the inner gate. Her master didn't like to talk much, so it was natural that she didn't have any friends. "Young friend, don't be alarmed. My name is Nangongshi, and I am an elder in the sect. I came here naturally to find Lin Qingshe." Nangongshi had a handsome appearance, dressed neatly, and looked like a young man. He didn't seem like a bad person. But upon hearing his voice, Luo Li instinctively disliked him and didn't want to engage in further conversation with him. "Master is busy. Elder Nangong, please leave." "Young friend, are you Lin Qingshui's newly accepted disciple? Truly a talented individual." Nangongshi took out a 4th grade spiritual sword from his storage ring and handed it to Luo Li, saying, "This is a gift from your senior brother." 4th grade spiritual swords were quite valuable in the cultivation world. Those who could forge high-quality spirit treasures were already rare, and most of the spiritual swords circulating today were handed down from ancient times. What was the relationship between this Nangongshi and her master? Why was he so generous? Luo Li couldn't easily accept it. "Elder Nangong, I don't need any gifts. Please take it back." Ignoring Luo Li's refusal, Nangongshi still handed the sword to her. In Nangong's mind, after he became Dao companions with Lin Qingshe, Luo Li would be one of his future disciples. Giving her this gift would leave a good impression and make it easier for him to find Lin Qingshe in the future. Luo Li heard her master's voice in her mind. Her voice was slightly hoarse, clearly indicating that she had been crying. "Accept it. Say that I am in seclusion and cannot receive guests. Elder Nangong, my master is currently in seclusion. Please leave." Luo Li informed Nangongshi according to her master's instructions. "Sister, I know you are in seclusion, but I still want to say it. I have been working hard for the sect outside for half a year, and it is only the longing for you that keeps me going. The first thing I did when I returned to the sect was to come find you. I will never give up." After Nangongshi finished speaking passionately, he left with a hint of disappointment. As Nangong's aura faded away, Lin Qingshe came out of her room. Her eyes were moist, and her nose was red. "Sister." Luo Li wanted to ask what happened to her master, but she knew it was related to Lu Chuan and couldn't bring herself to ask. "Nangongshi is so annoying. I don't want to see him. If he wants to give something, just accept it. Consider it compensation for the disturbance." Lin Qingshe glanced at the spiritual sword in Luo Li's hand. "It's a decent sword, just use it." Luo Li nodded. She remembered that when she was a princess in the mortal world, she had experienced similar situations. Wealthy young men and noble families would send her gifts to show their goodwill. Dealing with it once or twice was fine, but if it happened frequently, she would become annoyed and simply pretend not to be at home. Her 2 imperial brothers would help her reject those people. Listening to her complaints, they would mock those people as licking dogs. At that time, she was still a princess of a country, her father the emperor was still alive, and her 2 older brothers were also getting along harmoniously. Seeing Luo Li's expression not looking too good, Lin Qingshe felt a little worried and asked, "What's wrong? Is this sword not to your liking? Then you can sell it at the nearby market and exchange it for some spirit stones." "I'm fine. I just thought of senior brother Lu Chuan also having a good sword." Luo Li grinned at Lin Qingshe. Lin Qingshe knew that this kid Luo Li was teasing her again, feeling both embarrassed and angry. "Forget about him. I'll make you swing the sword 1,000 times as punishment. No rest until you finish. It's the punishment from the master." Afterwards, while swinging the sword, Luo Li thought to himself, senior brother Lu Chuan is really guilty of a serious crime. On the other side, inside the sect's main peak, Lu Chuan was alone in the sect master's study, looking up information about the sect's sacred land. Lin Qingshui's master uncle was busy with something, and his chief master had gone into seclusion again. At critical moments, he had to rely on himself. The plot of this sacred land was quite important. In the original work, Luo Li gained many benefits in this sacred land. The system would definitely trigger a mission at that time. Lu Chuan had almost figured out the mechanism for triggering missions in the system. As long as it was something related to Luo Li, it could possibly trigger. Missions were not mandatory to complete, but the rewards for missions were very tempting. During his time in the cultivation world, Lu Chuan had seen many names related to the chaotic immortal physique and the flawless sword body in various ancient texts. The chaotic immortal physique ranked among the top 3 special body refining qualities. Throughout history, there was only one person confirmed to possess this physique. In just 100 years, that person had achieved true immortal ascension, leaving behind many legends and mysteries. The system had told him more about this physique than what was recorded in books. The flawless sword body, on the other hand, was a physique that sword cultivators dreamed of. Ordinary people cultivated sword arts based on their comprehension. There were countless inherited sword arts and techniques, and no one could master them all. Each family had their own understanding. But those who possessed the flawless sword body seemed to be born for the sword. Their comprehension of the sword made ordinary people hesitate. Regardless of any sword art or technique, they could imitate it after watching it once, and master it within 10 viewings. There were no bottlenecks in sword cultivation for them. Perhaps it was a punishment for those favored by the heavens. Those with the flawless sword body could have their sword bones dug out. Comprehension originated from the sword bones. Once the sword bones were taken away, it was like the dantian of a cultivator in the Tao of cultivation being destroyed, with no future in cultivation, ultimately disappearing from the world. The sacred land was one of the most mysterious places in the Hope Immortal Gate. It was said to be the former residence of the founding saint. In ancient times, the spiritual energy was abundant, and even the beasts in the mountains could speak, and the fish and snakes in the rivers could walk. But humans, because they were farthest from nature, couldn't obtain cultivation methods and were once bullied by monsters, treated as food. According to legend, the founding saint was one of the earliest humans to attempt cultivation. He comprehended the mysteries of heaven and earth and could absorb the essence of heaven and earth and transform it into nourishing spiritual energy within his body. For the prosperity of humanity and to have the strength to resist demons and monsters, he united others who had insights into cultivation and established many cultivation sects. They passed down their cultivation methods and experiences within the sects. The basic mantra and cultivation method of the Hope Immortal Gate now was repaired and improved based on the remnants left by him. After his passing, everything he used for a long time was imbued with his saint aura, condensing into a Saint Tao rhyme in the courtyard where he lived. For the sake of the sect's future, the ancestors set a rule that only promising new cultivators could enter and comprehend the sacred land on the day it opened. The amount one could comprehend depended on the individual. The longer one stayed in the courtyard, the more Tao rhyme one absorbed, and the more benefits one obtained. It could cleanse true qi and improve the purity of spiritual energy, and it could also comprehend the true meaning of the saint, allowing one's cultivation to progress rapidly. In the legends of the Hope Immortal Gate, there were even those who gained the favor of the saint, underwent saint transformation, and passed on the Tao. But this was ultimately just a legend and couldn't be believed. After understanding the history of the sacred land, Lu Chuan began to meditate and cultivate. With the chaotic immortal physique, one day of cultivation was equivalent to 1,000 days of cultivation for others. He hoped to make progress in cultivation in the sacred land as well. In the cultivation world, personal strength was still the most important for self-preservation. Time flew by, and a week quickly passed. The sacred land of the sect was about to open, and Lu Chuan was preparing to go to the foot of the mountain where the saint's former residence was located to find Elder Wang Song. Qingshe, you take care of things here. Among those who comprehend the sacred land, my disciple Sima Dong will definitely stand out the most. I've told you so many times, don't call me Qingshe. Lin Qingshe turned her head to the side, her eyebrows furrowed tightly, her words unusually cold, as if she wanted to keep people thousands of miles away. A familiar voice, but an unfamiliar tone. Was this still the Lin Shishu he knew, who was easily shy but unexpectedly gentle? Chapter 11. Then I'll still call you Senior Sister. Senior Sister, it's not in vain that I've contributed to the sect in the past 6 months. I really have taken on a good disciple. My newly accepted disciple, Sima Dong, will definitely become a pillar of the Immortal Gate in the future. According to the secular world's calculations, I am considered his cousin. On the day he was born, I was also present. At that time, there were clouds shaped like a flying dragon hovering above the Sima family, and the sound of a phoenix circling in the tree grove at the entrance. Even the fortune-telling master who is proficient in divination said that his destiny is extraordinary and he will definitely become a true immortal. The sacred land of this sect values talent and comprehension. It must be that my disciple can persist for the longest time. Nangong Shi proudly introduced his disciple to Lin Qingshe. Many elders around him disapproved of his arrogance, but they didn't dare to speak up. Firstly, Nangong Shi had a special status as the elder in charge of the Immortal Gate, giving him authority in the sect. Secondly, both the Nangong and Sima families were well-known cultivation families in the cultivation world, and they didn't want to provoke them. It's better to avoid unnecessary trouble. The surrounding elders didn't want to cause any trouble, so they pretended not to see. No matter how talented he is, it's useless without good character. Your judgment of people is not good. Lin Qingshe didn't want to listen to Nangong Zai's nonsense anymore and walked away after saying this. Senior sister, what do you mean? Senior sister, please don't go. Nangong Shi didn't know about the incident where Sima Dong was exposed for using petrification stones in the intersect competition, so he couldn't understand what Lin Qingshe meant and tried to persuade her to stay. Lu Chuan originally wanted to greet Lin Qingshe and then go find Elder Wang Song, but Lin Qingshe was walking towards him. Why are you so late today? Your collar is crooked, let me fix it for you. Lin Qingshe was a head shorter than Lu Chuan. At this moment, she stood on tiptoe, raised her head, and used both hands to straighten Lu Chuan's clothes. Their faces were very close, and Lu Chuan could even smell the fragrance on Lin Qingshui's body. Her pure white forehead, delicate eyebrows, dark eyes, high nose, and soft and enticing cherry lips. Lu Chuan remembered when they were tightly embraced under the cliff, and the intimate contact with her rosy lips. Lin Qingshui's heart felt like it was about to jump out of her chest. She suppressed the restlessness in her heart, steadied her trembling hands, and made up her mind. She was going to take the first step bravely. The brief moment felt particularly long for both of them. All right, pay more attention next time. Good luck when entering the sacred land later. Lin Qingshe let go of Lu Chuan's collar, patted his shoulder, and walked away without waiting for Lu Chuan to thank her. Lu Chuan was startled by Lin Qingshui's sudden action. After a few seconds, he said, "Thank you, senior uncle. I will do my best." Time was running out now, and Lu Chuan couldn't afford to think too much. He had to report to Elder Wang Song first. Having never been to the sacred land before, Lu Chuan could only feel his way there, which took quite some time. The many elders who witnessed all this couldn't believe their eyes. That's Lin Qingshe, the immortal swordswoman. How could she have such an intimate interaction with a man? Maybe that guy is her disciple. Let's not jump to conclusions. How is that possible? I personally saw Lin Qingshe and her disciple arrive together. Her delicate disciple has already gathered with the Grand Elder. This is clearly her lover. No way, even an iron tree can bloom. Could this be an old cow eating tender grass? As they were talking, two elders covered the mouth of the fat elder. Breaking free, the fat elder gasped for breath. He said, "What's wrong? Am I not speaking the truth? I see that you just don't want to accept reality. Today, I'm going to finish what I have to say. Lin Qingshe is, after all, an elder of our immortal gate. She actually took a liking to a junior. This is clearly." This time, he couldn't say it himself. The elder who covered his mouth just now transmitted a message to him, telling him to turn around. Turning around, the fat elder saw Nangong Shi, with veins popping on his forehead but a faint smile on his lips. He remembered that this Nangong elder had been pursuing Lin Qingshe for decades. This matter is widely circulated within the sect. Whenever he does something or presents some rare treasure, it is ignored and rejected by Lin Qingshe. It used to be a topic of conversation among the elders before and after meals. "Senior brother, what were you just saying?" Nangong Shi spoke in a friendly tone, but the fat elder sensed a hint of killing intent. "Oh, I just remembered that there are still 2 furnaces of pills being refined in the pill formula. I'll go back and take a look first. My disciple can go back to sacred land by himself after coming out." The fat elder quickly finished speaking and disappeared in the blink of an eye. The elders vaguely saw a green hat on Nangong Zai's head, but considering his extraordinary identity, they chose to remain silent. But they all knew in their hearts that Lin Qingshui's interest in a new disciple would become a topic among the elders from today onwards. HMPH, what's the use of enduring in front of you? Your Lin goddess will still be taken by a newcomer. Ignoring the commotion of the elders as usual, Lin Qingshui found a place with shade and silently recited the clear heart technique. If one were to observe her face at this moment, they would notice her flushed cheeks and rosy earlobes. Her intimate actions with Lu Chuan had almost exhausted all her rationality. After Lu Chuan left, she understood. Lu Chuan was not wrong. As a newcomer who had just entered the path of immortality, it was the best time for him to focus on cultivation. Knowing that Luo Li was skilled in swordsmanship and wanting to spar with him was normal. Lin Qingshui was not an unreasonable person. On the contrary, after her reckless actions led to the death of her master, she gradually lost her sensibility and became more rational. As someone known for her rationality, why couldn't she control her emotions at that time? During this week, she had pondered and thought, but she still couldn't figure it out. She also sought Luo Li's advice. Lin Qingshui concealed the names of Lu Chuan and herself, pretending to have a friend. Luo Li, I have a friend, definitely not me. My friend has a capable nephew. Lin Qingshui vividly described the events that happened between them besides dual cultivation. Surviving together under the cliff, helping her resolve her inner conflicts. She clearly said that he would stay by her side, but he completely forgot about it. It's my friend. Whenever she thinks of her nephew, she feels suffocated in her heart. She clearly wants to see him, but she can't control her emotions when she actually sees him. Luo Li, why do you think this is? In my opinion, your friend has fallen in love with her nephew. He almost let it slip. Luo Li broke out in a cold sweat when he saw Lin Qingshui, who had come to him in a serious manner. He thought she was here to supervise his cultivation, but he didn't expect her to sit down and start telling a story. It wasn't a motivational story about cultivators, but rather about what happened between her and Lu Chuan. In Luo Li's eyes, the friend mentioned by the master was herself, and the friend's nephew was senior brother Lu Chuan. He had already noticed some clues before, and now he could be sure. His innocent master's feelings for Lu Chuan were better than being with Nangong Shi. During this time, Luo Li had also learned about Nangong Shi. He was far inferior to senior brother Lu Chuan. Arrogant, bullying, pretending to be one way in front of others and another way behind their backs. No wonder his master didn't want to see him. So you mean, she wants to become Dao companions with her nephew? Although Lin Qingshui didn't understand love very well, she understood the meaning behind her disciple's words. She had thought about this before, and upon careful consideration, she realized that her own thoughts were no different from those of the women in the romance novels she had read. Lin Qingshui felt dizzy, her face burning hot, and she felt lightheaded. Seeing her shy and cute appearance, Luo Li had the idea of helping her capture Lu Chuan. Master, let me give you, your friend some advice. Like this, like that. Under the guidance of Luo Li, Lin Qingshui took the first step in strategizing against Lu Chuan. And then, the scene from before happened again. Lin Qingshui straightened Lu Chuan's collar in front of many elders. Thinking back to her actions just now, Lin Qingshui's heart raced, her face flushed, and she covered her face with her hands to prevent others from seeing. What did I just do? Following Luo Li's advice, she had made physical contact with Lu Chuan. But she didn't know what he would think of her, whether he would think she was too frivolous. She had never been in a relationship before, and her only understanding of love came from the novels she read during her worldly experiences. She didn't know what the right thing to do was. What should I do? She could only trust Luo Li's advice here. Her disciple was delicate and handsome, clearly popular among women. He must have had experience in love. Moreover, he was a man, so the advice he gave from a man's perspective would surely be useful. Lin Qingshui encouraged herself. If Luo Li knew what her master was thinking, he would definitely complain in his heart. In fact, she was a woman herself, and she was a blank slate when it came to love and romance. The advice she gave was all forced upon her by her mother on the day of her coming-of-age ceremony. She estimated that she wouldn't need it, but unexpectedly, it came in handy. The perspective shifts back to Lu Chuan. At the entrance of the Sacred Land sect, Elder Wang Song was checking the list. We're only missing one person, but we're almost complete. We shouldn't delay any longer. Let me inform everyone of the rules to follow in the Sacred Land sect. Elder Wang Song had the appearance of a middle-aged man, completely different from the youthful face of the elder. If Lu Chuan were to view it from his past life's perspective, it would be hard to believe that these two were brothers of similar age. Standing in front of Wang Song were about 30 people, all core disciples who had been newly accepted as the sect leader's direct disciples in the past 10 years. They were all unfamiliar faces, and the only names Lu Chuan could recall were Sima Dong and Luo Li. A white-dressed girl standing in the front row caught Lu Chuan's attention. She was holding a pure white fox in her arms. While everyone else was attentively listening to Elder Wang's words, she was playing with the fox, her head lowered. The fox seemed to enjoy being touched and made chirping sounds, while she smiled lightly, appearing fresh and elegant. Lu Chuan recalled the plot he knew and guessed that this pure-looking girl holding the white fox was one of the female leads in the novel. Her name was Wang Yuan, the precious pearl in the hands of Elder Wang, and the famous little princess of the Sacred Land sect. Her story focused on her comforting Luo Li after Lin Qingshui's death and Elder Wang's tragic death, opening up her heart to encourage and support Luo Li with love, helping him overcome his shadow. Lu Chuan quite liked this Tsunere little princess when he read the novel in his past life, especially her jealous and shy appearance when she claimed to be just ordinary friends with the protagonist while showing jealousy by his side. Luo Li's interactions with her would come later, so it shouldn't trigger any tasks related to her for the time being. Lu Chuan really wanted to tease this Tsunere little princess and see her lose in a battle of pride. It was a great pleasure in life. Elder Wang, I apologize for being late. Lu Chuan reported to Wang Song. So, you're Lu Chuan. Why are you so late? The Sacred Land is about to open. Join the team quickly and listen to me about some precautions. Just as Lu Chuan stood beside Luo Li, he received a transmission from Luo Li. Senior brother Lu Chuan, why are you so late? Lu Chuan couldn't truthfully say that he got lost inside the sect, so he hesitated for a moment before answering, I got immersed in cultivation and lost track of time. Luo Li thought that the master had done something to Lu Chuan. It seemed that she had overestimated the master. After the internal competition, Lu Chuan was quite popular among the female disciples of the sect. If the master didn't take action soon, how could they compete with those shameless vixens? No, it seemed that she needed to put in more effort this month and create some opportunities for the two of them. Senior brother Lu Chuan, do you know? Actually, the master has been troubled these past few days. There's a senior elder in the sect who has been harassing the master at our mountain gate. Why is that senior elder bothering you? Lu Chuan was puzzled. Because of me, the master. Luo Li's words reminded Lu Chuan that when he first arrived, there was a young man who was always around Lin Qingshui. He was probably the senior elder Luo Li mentioned. In the original work, this elder was just a foil for the protagonist. His persistent pursuit of Lin Qingshui, who treated him sincerely without any effort, was a highlight of the early part of the novel. A lapdog, ending up with nothing in the end. Lu Chuan suddenly understood why Lin Shishu was acting unusually today. She probably wanted to show their intimacy in front of this lapdog elder and make him retreat. Lu Chuan didn't mind Lin Qingshui's intimate actions. She was a rare beauty in the world, and her cold aura was only gentle towards him. The contrast was truly irresistible. There was a moment just now when he even thought that Lin Qingshui might have fallen in love with him. Come to think of it, he was a transmigrator from the Blue Star, with many different ideas from the people in this world. Moreover, he, Lu Chuan, also had the identity of an antagonist in this world. From Lin Qingshui's perspective, he was the one who forcefully took her first time, so how could she easily develop feelings for him? Besides, even if Lin Qingshui did genuinely like him, Lu Chuan couldn't guarantee that he would be able to respond. Never mind what Lu Chuan thought, when the demon sect invaded soon, if he still didn't have the ability to protect Lin Qingshui from the hands of those from the demon sect, she would die. He wanted to keep Lin Qingshui alive. Regardless of natural disasters or man-made calamities, regardless of the plot setting, Lu Chuan was determined to defy fate. For this, Lu Chuan had to strive to seize opportunities from Luo Li and have more cards in his hand. He was not only doing bad things for himself, but also for Lin Qingshe. Luoli Jr. brother, for the sake of your master's life, you should make some sacrifices. When I can control you like I control ants, you will no longer be a threat to me, and I will compensate you well. Pay attention and don't whisper. Wang Song looked at Lu Chuan and Luoli and said. The fluctuations of spiritual energy when the two communicated were exposed. After saying so much, there is actually only one core point. After entering the sacred land, sit down and meditate as soon as possible. When you wake up from the meditative state, leave the sacred land immediately. If you stay in the sacred land all the time and absorb Tao rhymes that you cannot accept, these Tao rhymes will expand in your meridians, eventually bursting your physical body, and even immortals won't be able to save you. The elders are guarding outside the door. If you feel uncomfortable during meditation, come out and seek help immediately. Do you all understand? All the disciples collectively said, understood. The elder took out the sect leader's seal that was entrusted to him and pressed it onto the tightly closed door of the sacred land. The door emitted a light and then opened inward. Wang Song signaled everyone to quickly enter the sacred land. Such abundant spiritual energy. It truly deserves to be the former residence of the saint who founded the sect. It's truly extraordinary. Several disciples couldn't help but marvel at the difference in spiritual energy inside the sacred land compared to outside. On the other side, Wang Yuyan handed the white fox to Elder Wang Song and admonished him. Dad, while I'm not here, you must take good care of Xiao Bai. Don't let it go hungry, get hurt, or tired. Elder Wang Song hurriedly took the white fox. My little ancestor, you should go in quickly. I raised you, so I should be able to take care of a little fox. Everyone was attracted by the words of the elder and looked at Wang Yuyan. She's not called a little fox, she's called Xiao Bai. As if agreeing with Wang Yuyan's words, the fox in Wang Song's hand made a chirping sound and even bit Wang Song. Ouch, ouch, ouch. How dare you, little fox. Dad, you're not allowed to be rough with Xiao Bai. Seeing the elder, who was so imposing in the sect, being defeated by his own daughter, everyone burst into laughter. Why are you laughing? Laugh again and I'll cancel your qualification for comprehension. Amidst the laughter, the disciples entered the sect's sacred land. Only Lu Chuan couldn't laugh. He opened the system and saw a few big characters written on it. Mission. Absorb the most Tao rhymes during comprehension in the sacred land, stay in the sacred land for the longest time. Reward. Encyclopedia of Alchemy, entry-level alchemy technique. Unlock additional rewards by fully absorbing the sacred land's Tao rhymes, update in the points shop. Although he didn't listen carefully, he still heard the elder say that absorbing too many Tao rhymes would lead to death. This system finally stopped pretending. It really was the undercover agent sent by Luoli. The sacred land of Immortal Gate, it is said to be the former residence of the founder, Saint Li Luo. In order to spread his teachings, Saint built a large courtyard in front of his house, where the first group of disciples listened to his sermons and studied the Dharma. Although it is called a former residence, it is actually a house made of thatched grass. Next to the thatched house, there is an apricot tree, which is said to have been planted by Saint himself and has now grown into a towering tree that reaches the sky. The tree is like a towering giant, with strong and sturdy branches. The bark is crisscrossed with patterns, seemingly recording thousands of years of history. The leaves are lush, forming a green sky above the courtyard. There are also some new green buds on the top of the tree. This ancient tree before my eyes has spanned tens of thousands of years, witnessing the fall of countless famous talents, and has only lived to meet him now. In the future, it will still be here, meeting more talented newcomers of Immortal Gate. Year after year, the flowers are similar, but the people change year after year. Lu Chuan looked at the ancient tree in front of him and sighed. Seeing scenes that he could never have seen in his previous life on Blue Star, Lu Chuan was moved and temporarily put aside the idea of questioning whether the system was trying to kill him. Actually, Luo Li was by his side, and he didn't dare to openly open the system. Luo Li was a person favored by the heavens. If the heavens played a joke on Lu Chuan, it meant that not only he could see the system, but Luo Li could see it too. Then his adventure in the world of cultivation would come to an end. It's worthy of senior brother Lu Chuan. Even a casual remark from you can benefit me greatly. Seeing the admiring look in Luo Li's eyes, Lu Chuan was confused. What did he say? Wasn't it just reciting a poem? Senior brother wants to tell me that in the face of eternal things, only by achieving success in cultivation and comprehending the great Tao can one truly succeed. Lu Chuan took advantage of the situation and nodded, "You're right." Elder Wang Song's voice came, "All right, since you're familiar with the environment, quickly find a place to sit. Don't forget what I just said." He himself stood at the entrance of the sacred land, using a technique similar to lion's roar, and could be heard clearly even from a distance. Lu Chuan and Luo Li walked to a corner of the courtyard and sat down. There were no other disciples within a few meters of them. They were all gathered near Saint's thatched house, thinking that the closer they were to the house, the more insights they would gain. "You go find another place. Young master, I have reserved this place." Before seeing the person, his voice could be heard. Only Lu Chuan and Luo Li, who were familiar with each other, would speak so arrogantly. It was Sima Dong. "Didn't you hear me, or do you look down on me and not take me seriously? We all entered at the same time, so where does this reservation come from? I won't let you, please find another place. You dare to say that, it seems you don't know who I am. Listen carefully. I, Sima Dong, am the young master of the prestigious Sima family of cultivators, and also the direct disciple of the sect's elder, Nangong Shi. I'll give you another chance. If you step aside, I won't pursue your rudeness just now." The young disciple who didn't want to give up his seat had naturally heard of Sima Dong's name. He was notorious in the sect, and everyone avoided talking about him, afraid of getting into trouble. At this point, he could only reluctantly give up his seat. Sima Dong proudly sat down. Now he was sitting in the front row, facing Saint's thatched house. When Lu Chuan saw Sima Dong say this, he glanced at him a few times and thought to himself that Sima Dong really had a short memory. He, Lu Chuan, was a mid-stage small boss, while Sima Dong was just one of the stepping stones for the protagonist in the early stage. What ability do you have to provoke me? It seems that I need to remind him again and let him know who the real antagonist is. Just as Lu Chuan was about to stand up, Luo Li grabbed him. "Senior brother, don't be impulsive. Elder Wang Song is still watching. If you make a move, both of you will be expelled. It's not worth giving up the opportunity to comprehend the sacred land for someone like him." Seeing the still open gate and Elder Wang Song standing there, trembling on the verge of exploding, Lu Chuan could only sit back down. The task at hand is still important. Afterwards, he will definitely find an opportunity to deal with Sima Dong harshly. Sit properly. Sacred land cannot allow you to act recklessly. The comprehension begins. Anyone who doesn't sit down will be kicked out. All the disciples obediently sat down and began their own comprehension. "Senior brother, shall we start as well?" The Tao rhyme condensed by Saint's former residence has a certain quantity. If they comprehend it too late, they will miss out on the insights they should have gained. Seeing everyone around entering a meditative state, Lu Chuan summoned the system. "Come out and explain. Were you persuaded by Luo Li? Are you trying to kill me or something?" Lu Chuan admitted that if Luo Li were to dress in women's clothing, even without makeup, with his nearly perfect face and delicate temperament, he would still be an enchanting beauty. "Host, you've misunderstood. I definitely stand on your side. We are a shared destiny. If you were to be killed by Luo Li, I would be restored to factory settings. Let me explain. The amount of Tao rhyme condensed in this sacred land is best in moderation for ordinary people. Absorbing too much will lead to death, while absorbing too little will result in limited comprehension. But you, as the host, are different. You possess the chaos immortal physique. Although your cultivation is only at the foundation building stage, in terms of comprehending the heavens and earth, you are at least at the level of a land god immortal. The amount of Tao rhyme condensed in this sacred land can only be considered as appetizers for you. Time is of the essence. Host, quickly meditate and cultivate, and complete the task as soon as possible." After listening to the system's explanation, Lu Chuan chose to believe what the system said and began meditating to enter a state of cultivation. Lu Chuan operated the circulation of qi in the microcosmic and macrocosmic orbits, which felt different from his previous cultivation outside. There was a mysterious feeling. It seemed that an external force was surging into his body from the Baihui acupoint top of the head, helping him circulate spiritual energy. With each circulation, his meridians became stronger and his dantian expanded. If the Tao rhyme had a form, Lu Chuan's situation would be like a vacuum cleaner, continuously absorbing the Tao rhyme in this sacred land. Others, on the other hand, were only absorbing it bit by bit, with different speeds. Time passed minute by minute. Outside of sacred land, the elders were curious about what was happening inside, which made Wang Song so angry. Wang Song roughly explained the incident of Sima Dong taking someone else's position. When the elders heard that the protagonist of the story was the beloved disciple of Elder Nangong, they didn't dare to comment. Elder Nangong saw an opportunity to impress Lin Qingshe and said excitedly, "The cultivation world is a place where strength speaks. If disciples are well protected every day, they will still be bullied and humiliated outside the sect. This kind of competition within the sect helps the disciples grow. Elder Nangong, you know how to talk. In my opinion, this is just bullying the weak and taking advantage of the strong," Elder Wang Song coldly snorted. The other elders silently agreed with Wang Song in their hearts. Wang Song was the Grand Elder of the Hope Immortal Gate, standing above 10,000 people. He wasn't afraid of any cultivation families or sect elders targeting him. Who could target him? He was on equal footing with the sect master, calling each other brothers. Boring, Lin Qingshe, who was under the shade of a tree, commented. Her immediate superior and the woman she had long pursued were both involved in this. Elder Nangong felt a bit at a loss, but still forced himself to say, regardless, Sima Dong will definitely not disappoint in that position. He will become the disciple who has persisted the longest in sacred land in the history of the sect. That's not necessarily true, Wang Song disagreed. Among the disciples who entered sacred land this time, there are many talented individuals. Sima Dong is a talented individual, but when it comes to which disciple in sacred land has the most comprehension, it depends on Lu Chuan. In the past 6 months, whenever he met with his senior martial brother, Zhang Junhai would always boast about Lu Chuan. He even said he wanted to arrange a marriage between Lu Chuan and Wang Yuan. It made him almost allergic to the name Lu Chuan. It's just baseless talk. As long as he, Wang Song, is still alive, he will protect his daughter's purity. What kind of stinky man wants to get close to Wang Yuan? They have to be able to defeat him first. In the sacred land, Lu Chuan greedily absorbs the external Tao rhyme. Under the influence of the Saint Tao rhyme, Lu Chuan feels that the circulation of the great Tao is extremely smooth. I can still increase my speed, Lu Chuan thinks. Gradually, Lu Chuan has stepped into the realm of cultivation, which can be considered as an entry level in the path of cultivation. He devotes himself wholeheartedly to the flow of spiritual energy within his body, even losing track of the passage of time. In the state of meditation and cultivation, practitioners have an inaccurate perception of time. The lifespan of cultivators is much longer than that of ordinary mortals. When they reach the nascent soul formation realm, it often takes decades or even centuries to have a breakthrough in comprehension. He only feels like he has been cultivating for a while, but 3 hours have passed in the outside world. Elder Wang, it has been 3 hours and no disciples have come out yet. It seems that the talents and comprehension of these new disciples are quite good. Elder Wang nods in appreciation. The spiritual energy in the sacred land is abundant, and the Saint Tao rhyme is rich. It is impossible for the newly initiated disciples to persist for too long inside. In previous years, there were disciples with poor comprehension who couldn't hold on and withdrew from it. This group of new disciples is truly full of potential. If they are well cultivated, the future of the Immortal Gate will be bright. After a while, 1 or 2 disciples gradually come out of the sacred land. Although they only persisted for 3 hours, they are already outstanding compared to ordinary cultivators who are still meditating. Being able to comprehend the Saint Tao rhyme and gain insights into the great Tao within the sacred land is already a great gain for them, so their faces are filled with smiles. HMPH, they have no ambition. Nangong Shi sneers when he sees the smiles on their faces. He has always looked down upon these weaklings and says, they become complacent with a little gain, but in the end, they won't achieve great accomplishment. The elders who have already come out of the sacred land hear these words but dare not retort, they can only coldly snort to express their dissatisfaction. They want to see if Nangong Zai's arrogant disciple can persist until the end and become the disciple who comprehends the most Tao rhyme. After another 2 hours, Wang Yuyan slowly comes out of the sacred land. During this time, many disciples have finished their comprehension. Being able to comprehend the Tao rhyme for 5 hours within the sacred land has already surpassed the majority of disciples who participated in this sacred land comprehension. Now, there are only a few left in the sacred land. Dad, how was it? Am I amazing? Wang Song looks at his daughter and feels genuinely pleased. You're amazing, amazing, Yan Yan is the best. Although his daughter has exceptional talent, she is extremely lazy when it comes to cultivation and doesn't want to practice unless someone pushes her. For her to persist for such a long time in the sacred land is a pleasant surprise for Wang Song. Then give me a reward. Little white horse is about to shed its fur, so I want to buy it some good things to replenish it. All right, you go back first, consolidate your comprehension, and we'll talk about it when you come home tonight. Oh, and don't call me by my nickname outside. Wang Yuyan takes the white fox from Wang Song's hands and happily bounces back to her own sect. Watching Wang Yuyan leave, Wang Song sighs, realizing that his daughter has grown up. She even knows to come to the sacred land for comprehension. He also notices Nangong Shi not far away and fears that he might say something to ruin Wang Yuyan's good mood. Wang Song glares fiercely at Nangong Shi. Elder Wang, what is your intention? I am also happy for your talented nephew. Nangong Shi changes the topic. But he still can't reach the top. We'll see who can comprehend the most and absorb the most Tao rhyme. It still depends on my disciple. Nangong Elder is really confident, having such a good disciple. As far as I know, your beloved disciple used some tricks in the recent inter-sect competition. Wang Song can't bear it anymore and can only retort. Moreover, even underhanded tactics, he still lost to Lu Chuan, the direct disciple of the sect leader. I believe he will still lose to Lu Chuan in this sacred land comprehension. What Wang Song said is all true, leaving Nangong Shi speechless. He can only stubbornly say, then let's wait and see. The elders present have long been fed up with Nangong Zai's attitude, and at this moment, they are silently cheering for Lu Chuan in their hearts. The perspective returns to the sacred land. As time passes, due to the absorption of numerous disciples, the Tao rhyme in the sacred land has become thin. Lu Chuan's most direct feeling is that the speed at which he absorbs the Tao rhyme from the outside world is slowing down. Why are there only 4 people left? Lu Chuan releases his spiritual consciousness and realizes that many disciples have already left the sacred land. The remaining 4 people are Sima Dong, Luo Li, himself, and a female disciple he doesn't know. Upon careful observation, Lu Chuan senses something unusual. The Tao rhyme is converging towards Luo Li and Sima Dong as they meditate, while the Tao rhyme around the female disciple is exceptionally abundant. Has she still not entered the state of enlightenment until now? The task given by the system is to absorb all the Tao rhymes in sacred land. In order to complete this task, Lu Chuan can only absorb the Tao rhymes to the best of his ability. Since you don't cherish the opportunity, don't blame Lu Chuan for being ruthless. And Sima Dong, you also deserve to enter the state of enlightenment. These Tao rhymes were reserved by Lu Chuan. Did you ask him before absorbing them without permission? Lu Chuan accelerates the circulation of spiritual energy in his body, absorbing the spiritual energy around the 2 of them to himself. Without the Tao rhymes, Sima Dong wakes up from his meditation. He has great confidence in his own comprehension and talent. He has been called a genius since he was a child. How is it possible for anyone to surpass me? Let me enjoy the silence of sacred land and feel the loneliness of the strong. Sima Dong opens his eyes and declares loudly. What he sees is not the empty space he imagined, but 3 other people who are also in the state of enlightenment. Ha! Su Lianlian can't help but laugh when she hears the arrogant declaration not far away. Knowing that she can't pretend anymore, Su Lianlian can only stand up, droop her eyelids, and try to show sadness, saying with a regretful tone, it seems that this is where I stop. Hold on, you just laughed, didn't you? Just after he finished speaking, Sima Dong is slapped in the face and mocked by Su Lianlian. He feels humiliated by the unfamiliar female disciple in front of him. Little did he know that in the blink of an eye, the female disciple disappeared. I'll let you go for now. Seeing Lu Chuan and the 2 of them still meditating not far away, a thought arises in Sima Dong's mind to go and cause trouble. But then he thinks that if something happens to the two of them in the sacred land, everyone will know that he, Sima Dong, did it. He can only give up and angrily leave the sacred land. When the many elders outside see that Sima Dong is the first to come out of the sacred land, some laugh heartily, some look at Nangongshi, and some imitate Nangong's eyes' previous expression to express their regret to Sima Dong. Ha ha ha, Elder Nangong, it seems that your disciple is not good enough, not even as good as Lin Zhongxian's disciple. Be more low-key next time. Nangongshi becomes the target of everyone's criticism for a while. His face turns red, as if he is about to explode in the next second. Sima Dong doesn't know what happened outside, but seeing the expression of his master, he doesn't dare to say much. Master, I think I did well. HMPH, who asked you? Say what you have to say when you go back. Nangong's eyes mood is complicated at this time. He has hatred towards Elder Wang Song, anger towards Lu Chuan and Luo Li, and shame for losing face in front of Lin Qingshe. Seeing Sima Dong, he feels that he didn't do well enough, which led to his embarrassment. So he vents his anger on Sima Dong. Half an hour later, Lu Chuan's absorption speed of the Dao rhymes has almost reached 0. Now he is competing with Luo Li for the remaining strands of Dao rhymes. Indeed, he is favored by the heavens, being able to compete back and forth with him. Lu Chuan is starting to feel a bit overwhelmed. But in order to complete the system's task, he can only give it his all. So what if you are favored by the heavens? I have the Chaos Immortal physique. Elder Wang Song, it has been 10 hours now, and there are still 2 disciples who haven't come out of the sacred land. Lin Qingshe, who has been waiting silently on the side, finally can't help but speak up. Should we go in and take a look? She suggests. Maybe those 2 are forcing themselves to stay in the sacred land, absorbing too many Dao rhymes, and have already exploded and died, Sima Dong blurts out. Seeing that everyone around is looking at him, Sima Dong feels a bit puzzled. Could it be that what he thought in his mind just now was said out loud? Sima Dong feels a chill on his back, and if looks could kill, Lin Qingshe would have killed him 1,000 times over. Just then, lightning flashes and thunder roars in the sky, and a strong wind blows at the entrance of the sacred land. The lightning turns into a blue dragon, and the thunder sounds like a dragon's roar. The clear sky suddenly becomes covered with thick clouds, which gather and transform into a human figure. Elder Wang Song stares at the sky, remembering that he has seen this face before. He knows this person, but this person doesn't know him. Because when Wang Song was born, this person had already been dead for tens of thousands of years. Founder Saint, Li Luo. Wang Song can't control himself and shouts out these words with a lion's roar. All the members of Immortal Gate who are looking towards the gate hear what Wang Song said, and they put down what they are doing and look up at the Founder Saint. Zhang Junhai, who is in seclusion, also senses the anomaly in the sect and wakes up from his seclusion. He calculates with his fingers and deduces the cause and process behind it, unable to help but burst into laughter. It seems that I have really taken in a good disciple. Sacred Land Outer Gate. Many elders have read the sect's historical scrolls and have some impression of the founder, Saint. Upon hearing Wang Song's words, they also recalled that the face in the sky was Li Luo. Is it really Li Luo, Saint? If Saint is present, something big must be happening. Immortal Gate has been established for tens of thousands of years, and such a thing has never happened before. The elders are curious about what has happened inside Sacred Land. It must be Lu Chuan who did something disrespectful to Saint in Sacred Land. Nangongshi said, Elder Wang Song, please allow me to go in and bring him out. Nangongshi hates Lu Chuan so much that she subconsciously believes that Lu Chuan has angered Saint. Elder Wang, I want to go into Sacred Land and see what's happening. If something happens, I will bring Lu Chuan out and hold him accountable. Although Lin Qingshe doesn't believe what Nangongshi said, she can't help but worry that something might have happened to Lu Chuan. Her eyebrows furrowed slightly, and her lips tightened. Her face was filled with worry and eagerness. Wang Song is used to Nangongshi exaggerating things, but what's wrong with Lin Qingshe this time? Wang Song has never seen Lin Qingshe so anxious before. Lu Li is her disciple, so she is not worried. Instead, she thinks of Lu Chuan first. Lu Chuan is the closed-door disciple of her senior brother. What is his relationship with Lin Qingshe? The disciples of her senior brother must have extraordinary abilities. Wang Song chooses to wait and see, believing in Lu Chuan and Lu Li. Don't worry, let's see the situation first. Saint's presence may not necessarily be a bad thing. This might be an opportunity for the two of them. Don't speculate on Saint's intentions without authorization. Inside Sacred Land, the last trace of Dao Rime was also absorbed by Lu Chuan. When he opened his eyes, Lu Chuan saw the anomaly in Sacred Land. Thunder and lightning filled the sky, and the clouds were swirling. I must have absorbed too much and incurred heavenly condemnation, Lu Chuan thought. Senior brother Lu Chuan, what's happening? Lu Li also woke up from her meditation and saw the anomaly in the sky. I don't know, but I think we should leave Sacred Land first. Lu Chuan grabbed Lu Li's hand and prepared to run outside. The probability of being struck by lightning would definitely decrease when he was with Son of Fortune. Kid, don't be in such a hurry. A deep male voice came from the sky, stopping Lu Chuan's actions. The clouds in the sky formed an old face. Just by looking up, Lu Chuan could feel the absolute pressure of a higher-ranking individual. A powerhouse above the soul formation stage. Senior, I am Lu Chuan, the direct disciple of the sect master of Immortal Gate. Lu Chuan took a deep breath and suppressed the urge to escape. By stating his background, if the other party wanted to take action against Lu Chuan, they would also have some scruples about Immortal Gate. Lu Chuan noticed that he couldn't help but tremble when he spoke. This was fear of absolute strength. Since transmigrating to the cultivation world, this was the first time Lu Chuan felt his life was threatened. Ordinary cultivators would hide their edge in their daily lives unless they were facing enemies. Otherwise, they wouldn't easily release their aura. But the pressure coming from the sky almost made Lu Chuan unable to stand steady. In the eyes of true powerhouses, he was no different from an ant, easily crushed. I am still too weak. I need to become stronger, to have the strength to confront the true powerhouses of the cultivation world. He wasn't seeking power for the sake of wanton killing or bullying the weak. He just wanted to survive in this cultivation world where the strong were respected and have his own place. The desire for power grew in Lu Chuan's heart. This unexpected event, which had never appeared in the original novel, made Lu Chuan uncertain and unsure if he could survive today. Hold on to the protagonist's thigh first. Lu Chuan approached Lu Li, and their bodies were almost pressed together. He could feel Lu Li's body trembling. Her lips were slightly open, but she didn't make any sound. Lu Chuan felt Lu Li next to him, and the next second, she fainted in his arms. Looking at her lips when she fainted, Lu Chuan understood what she wanted to say. Senior brother Lu Chuan, I'm sorry, I can't hold on anymore. The clouds in the sky continued to condense, forming a tall figure with a scholarly air. He noticed Lu Li fainting and realized that his aura was leaking, so he retracted his aura. Kid, I'm really sorry. I haven't awakened for too long, and I'm still a bit unaccustomed, the middle-aged man continued. If my guess is correct, you absorbed all the Dao Rime condensed here for the past 10 years, right? Lu Chuan broke out in a cold sweat when faced with the unknown origin of this powerful individual. Is he here to settle the score with me? Senior, I don't know what you're talking about. I was just meditating and trying to comprehend the Dao Rime left by Saint Ancestor in Sacred Land. Upon hearing Lu Chuan's words, the middle-aged man laughed a few times. Kid, you don't recognize me. Senior, forgive my ignorance. I haven't been cultivating for long, and I don't know much about the history of the cultivation world. Ha ha ha. Kid, I am the Saint Ancestor you mentioned. Upon hearing this, Lu Chuan breathed a sigh of relief. Since he was the ancestor of the Immortal Gate, there should be no threat to his life. Disciple Lu Chuan pays respects to the ancestor. Lu Chuan could only bow with clasped fists because he was holding Luo Li in his arms. No need for formalities. I've been dead for so many years, there's no need for excessive courtesy. I am just a lingering remnant. After all, it was the sect he created, and there was always some attachment. He wanted to know how the future development of the Immortal Gate was, and whether it still existed in the world. This lingering remnant is gradually becoming stronger after thousands of years of development in this place filled with spiritual energy and my Dao Rime. Lu Chuan understood, but still didn't know why he appeared in front of him. Seemingly reading Lu Chuan's thoughts, the ancestor continued, it was because you absorbed all the Tao rhyme here that I sensed this lingering remnant. Someone with the potential to become an immortal emperor appeared and wanted to meet. To possess both the chaotic immortal physique and the flawless sword body, these two rare constitutions appearing in the same person, truly makes me marvel at the wonders of the world. Even though you are only at the foundation building stage, you can absorb so many Tao rhymes. With someone like you as the successor of the Immortal Gate, I can rest assured. I see that you are cultivating an incomplete version of the Chengqing Ju. I will pass on the complete version to you as a reward for your outstanding performance. The ancestor raised his hand and pointed it in the air above Lu Chuan's head. As if receiving an epiphany, the original version of the Chengqing Ju technique appeared in Lu Chuan's mind, along with textual explanations of the cultivation methods and techniques. The modified version of the Chengqing Ju is widely circulated within the Immortal Gate, and the original version has long been lost, with only a few fragments found in the library. The cultivation efficiency of the original version should far exceed that of the modified version, as the absorption and utilization of spiritual energy and the understanding of the great Tao of heaven and earth are on a completely different level. However, when Lu Chuan tried to cultivate the complete version of the Chengqing Ju, he didn't feel any changes in his cultivation. Did he misunderstand something? Seeing the disappointment on Lu Chuan's face, the ancestor also remembered something. Forget that you have the chaotic immortal physique. With your extraordinary constitution, your absorption of spiritual energy is already at its highest speed, and the quality of the cultivation method has no effect on you. After all the fuss, he was scared half to death, and yet he didn't gain any substantial benefits. But he couldn't show any dissatisfaction in front of the ancestor, so Lu Chuan forced a smile. It's all right. Thank you for the ancestor's reward. I will double my efforts and not disappoint the ancestor's expectations. Seemingly guessing what Lu Chuan was thinking, Li Luo ancestor laughed. You are quite interesting, kid. Even though you didn't gain any benefits, you are still so polite. If I were still alive, I would make you my direct disciple. Actually, what you see of me is just a lingering remnant, and I can't provide you with any substantial help. All right. I see that your cultivation is very low and you can't even stand firm in the cultivation world. Let me give you 2 defensive talismans. A strand of golden light descended from the sky and gradually merged into Lu Chuan's body. These 2 golden lights are the strongest possession talismans I can currently condense. One is an offensive gold talisman that can unleash the full power of the soul formation stage, and the other is a defensive gold talisman that can withstand attacks from below the void refining stage. When using them, just silently recite my name in your mind. Above the nascent soul stage is the soul formation stage, and above the soul formation stage is the void refining stage. For Lu Chuan, this was truly an unexpected joy. It gave him a bit more confidence in his actions in the cultivation world. A full power attack from the soul formation stage, unless it's a cultivator specializing in defense, even those at the soul formation stage wouldn't be able to withstand it. If caught off guard, it might even be able to kill a void refining stage expert. The defensive gold talisman could protect Lu Chuan from a fatal blow, and perhaps he could escape from a powerful enemy by feigning death with it. Thank you, Senior. The figure of the senior became transparent. It had cost him too much spiritual energy to give out these 2 gold talismans, and he didn't have much time left to maintain his human form. If fate allows, I'll give some benefits to the young girl present as well, Li Luo thought. Li Luo Sr. waved his hands and drew a large amount of spiritual energy from a nearby ancient tree, enveloping Lu Li. In an instant, a large amount of black impurities emerged from Lu Li's body and were absorbed by the spiritual energy of the ancient tree. This was helping Lu Li cleanse her meridians and marrow. In the sky, Li Luo's body gradually dissipated, turning into a few inconspicuous clouds on the horizon. Before dispersing, he surveyed the entire Wang Immortal Gate. Although it was different from the small sect in his memory, he still had deep feelings for it. Kid, until we meet again by fate. Sacred land returned to calmness, with its usual thatched cottages and towering ancient trees. In the spacious courtyard, only Lu Chuan and Lu Li remained. Lu Chuan looked at Lu Li, who was still unconscious, in his arms. Lu Li's skin became as delicate as white jade. Her petite and exquisite body clung tightly to Lu Chuan's, soft like water. Her sleeping face was enchantingly beautiful, with a hint of charm, coupled with her inherent elegance. Lu Chuan swallowed his saliva, unexpectedly having strange delusions about the protagonist. Is this person really a man? Lu Chuan had doubts in his mind. Although it's said that a gentleman doesn't take advantage of others in a vulnerable state, Lu Chuan is the antagonist after all. Let me take a look and see if my junior's development is normal. Lu Chuan prepared to take advantage of Lu Li's unconsciousness to confirm her gender. Just as Lu Chuan was about to touch Lu Li and confirm whether she was really a man, the system spoke up. Congratulations, host, on completing the mission. Rewards have been issued. Encyclopedia of Alchemy. Alchemy Technique Beginner's Guide. Point Store Update. In an instant, Lu Chuan's mind was flooded with knowledge about alchemy, from identifying the cultivation of spirit herbs to knowing which herbs and quantities were needed for pill refinement. He could recite all of this information effortlessly. Although his practical skills in alchemy technique were only at the beginner stage, he already had extensive theoretical knowledge of alchemy. Lu Chuan's current true strength was at the foundation building late stage, but he appeared to be only at the chi refining late stage on the surface. To upgrade to the gold core stage, he needed the rare treasure of a gold core upgrade, which was extremely rare even at the immortal gate. Lu Chuan couldn't openly ask his sect master for it, so he could only secretly refine it himself. He didn't know the success rate, but it was easy for him to refine the pills needed for the foundation building stage, while the pills mentioned earlier required a bit more effort. System, what's this update in the point store? Considering the host's diligent completion of tasks, here are some small benefits for you. The distribution method for villain points has changed, and the items in the store are more practical. As long as the host is by the protagonist's side and makes the protagonist feel negative emotions, the system will distribute points. These points can be used to purchase pills and other items that the host's current level requires. Opening the store, Lu Chuan's eyes fell on the Origin Returning Pill, Chi Condensation Pill, Heavenly Origin Pill, and various detoxification pills and items from the Blue Star. The Origin Returning Pill was used to heal flesh wounds, the Chi Condensation Pill could restore spiritual energy, and the Heavenly Origin Pill could heal spiritual trauma. These three types of pills were essential for cultivators, and they were all available in the system store, ready to be purchased at any time. This gave Lu Chuan some confidence in surviving in the cultivation world. If I can't defeat my enemies, I can just consume pills until they're worn out. Host, the pills in the system store are of good quality and affordable. They only cost 10 points. Hurry up and make the protagonist feel embarrassed. Lu Chuan felt Lu Li moving in his arms and quickly put away the system. Senior brother Lu Chuan, what just happened? How did I end up being held by you? When Lu Li spoke, she couldn't meet Lu Chuan's gaze. A faint blush appeared on her cheeks as her soft body rubbed against his. Lu Li wanted to break free from Lu Chuan's embrace. From childhood to adulthood, Lu Li had never had any contact with men other than her father and two older brothers, let alone being held in someone's arms. Lu Li felt her face burning hot, her forehead feeling heavy, and she just wanted to find a place to hide. I am a man, I am a man. Lu Li reassured herself. With her soft and fragrant hair, delicate and youthful face, and the blush on her face due to shyness, Lu Chuan couldn't help but be infatuated. Luckily, he was now a cultivator at the foundation building stage, with far greater control over his body than an ordinary person. Otherwise, he would suspect that he would have a reaction at this moment. Does that mean I can accept anyone as long as they are cute and beautiful, even if they are a man? No, I am a serious person. I absolutely won't engage in any male-male CP with the protagonist. Are all those fairies who like the male lead in the novel just shotacon? To change his mood, Lu Chuan wanted to try earning points from Lu Li. As long as Lu Li felt negative emotions, it would be enough. Lu Li, you're so weak, you can't even withstand this bit of pressure. How can you become a capable man like this? I'm a bit disappointed in you. Senior brother Lu Chuan is right, Lu Li showed weakness. Lu Li heard Lu Chuan say that she couldn't become a capable man, and she knew that her identity as a woman hadn't been exposed. She immediately breathed a sigh of relief. There might be spies sent by her imperial brothers in the Immortal Gate. If her identity as a woman was exposed, she might be hunted down by assassins. Besides, I can't withstand the pressure of a saint. It's really impressive that senior brother protected me in his arms. Senior brother really thinks highly of me. Lu Chuan waited for the system prompt, but there was no familiar sound for a long time. What's going on? Is the system not daring to make a sound in front of the protagonist? Could it be that Lu Li didn't feel any negative emotions? Could it be that he's a masochist? Thinking of the original works, Lin Qingxie, who was not the gentle and kind elder sister he was familiar with, but a cold and icy female sword immortal, Lu Li's fondness for her in the original work came to mind. The credibility of Lu Li being a masochist increased a bit. Lu Li, stop daydreaming. Have you forgotten what Elder Wang Song said before? Hurry up and leave the sacred land. Is senior brother Lu Chuan actually concerned about me? Cold on the outside, warm on the inside, with a good heart but a harsh mouth. Lu Li thought of her own master. No wonder master took a liking to senior Lu Chuan, their personalities are so similar, Lu Li thought to herself. Lu Chuan was unaware of Lu Li's thoughts, as he was still waiting for the system to allocate him points. As they emerged from the sacred land, they found a crowd of people outside, including not only the previous disciples of the Immortal Gate, but even some elders who rarely left their seclusion. Is there a conference going on? Lu Chuan wondered. Seeing the two of them emerge unharmed from the sacred land, Lin Qingxie hurriedly ran towards them. Lu Li had thought that master was worried about her and had prepared a few words to appease her. But who could have expected that her beautiful master would completely ignore her and go straight to Lu Chuan? Lu Chuan, what happened in the sacred land? Are you okay? Lin Qingxie reached out her slender hand to touch Lu Chuan's face. In that instant of contact, Lu Chuan felt a surge of energy, and Lin Qingxue's hand was as cold as ice. Lin Qingxie was very worried about herself. In the sacred land, the patriarch just spoke to us. We're fine, Lu Chuan said softly. Elder Wang Song also came to their side, excitedly asking, so it really was Patriarch Li Luo? What did he say to you? Luo Li replied, Elder Wang, I fainted at that time, so in reality, it was only senior Lu Chuan who had a conversation with the patriarch. If you want to know, you should ask him. After coming out, Luo Li felt that her body had undergone some changes. Her body felt lighter, her thoughts became clearer, and she found herself thinking faster about things. She even had a feeling that her cultivation speed must have increased significantly compared to before. Clearly, there hadn't been such a big change when she finished her meditation, so she was curious about what had happened after she fainted. It definitely wasn't something good, Nangong Shi muttered. Nangong Shi saw Lu Chuan tightly holding the hand of his goddess, and thought about how he hadn't even touched Lin Qingxie in so many years. He suddenly felt a surge of anger, his face turning green with jealousy. Nangong Shi, you better keep quiet, Elder Wang shouted at Nangong Shi. He was eager to know what the patriarch had said in the sacred land. After all, the patriarch was the founder of the Immortal Gate and the creator of the cultivation techniques. He hadn't appeared for tens of thousands of years, but he came out specifically to meet Lu Chuan. Everyone present had their attention focused on Lu Chuan. Lu Chuan recounted the patriarch's gift of the complete version of the Longqing Ju in the sacred land and the matter of the patriarch giving Lu Li the bone cleansing and marrow washing technique, but he concealed the fact that he had drained the Tao rhyme and that the patriarch had given him the golden talisman. Who is Lu Chuan, the founder personally passing on the teachings? I've heard about him a long time ago. He is a disciple of the sect master and previously defeated the prestigious disciple Sima Dong in the inner sect's new student competition to become the victor. I've also heard about him. I thought he only had talent in martial arts, but I didn't expect his talent in cultivation to be so extraordinary. Don't forget, he comprehended the sacred land this time and persisted until the end. No wonder the founder took notice of him. After hearing what Lu Chuan said, the crowd around them went from quiet to noisy, and everyone was enthusiastically discussing Lu Chuan. Luo Li expressed her gratitude, saying, Indeed, Lu Chuan senior brother, I am not as good as you in swordsmanship, and I am far behind you in the cultivation of the Tao. I am also indebted to senior brother for the great benefits I have received. I will never forget this favor, junior sister. When the founder was passing on the teachings to Lu Chuan, Luo Li was by his side, so the founder also took special care of her. Cleansing the scriptures and refining the marrow is the dream of every cultivator who has just stepped into the path of cultivation. It requires the collection of more than a dozen types of Millennium Spirit grasses in order to achieve the effect of the Qi refining stage, and the conditions are extremely demanding. I envy Luo Li. If I had been by Lu Chuan's senior brother's side at that time, maybe I could have also received the founder's rewards. Actually, I've always thought that Lu Chuan's senior brother is very handsome. I'm going to take the initiative to approach him next. Forget it, with Luo Li present, her time of comprehension in the sacred land is almost the same as Lu Chuan's. Isn't it said that if you can't persist for 3 or 4 hours, it's no good? Several female cultivators who participated in the comprehension of the sacred land admired Lu Chuan greatly and were extremely envious of Luo Li, expressing their sighs around them. It's good as long as nothing happens. Lin Qingshe heard many female disciples, and even young and beautiful female elders, showing interest in Lu Chuan, and she advised Lu Chuan. After today, Lu Chuan, don't let yourself be trapped by love affairs, especially wasting time and talent on matters between men and women, disappointing the favor of the founder. Nan Gongxi refused to accept reality and still retorted, HMPH, it's just luck. Lu Chuan happened to be present when the founder was passing on the teachings. Maybe the founder came to see my disciple. As a mentor who boasted about his disciples but was inferior to others, he was thoroughly slapped in the face. Many elders and disciples who couldn't stand Nan Gongxi's behavior let out a sigh of relief when they saw his helpless retort and his livid face. Wang Song, who had been silent for a long time, was contemplating how to ask Lu Chuan to contribute the complete version of the Chengqing Ju. If Immortal Gate had the complete version of the Chengqing Ju, the sect's strength would definitely rise by more than 1 level. If it really couldn't be done, he could reluctantly accept this son-in-law with boundless prospects for the sake of his daughter. Su Lianlian, hidden in the crowd, saw all of this and revealed a malicious smile. Interesting, Lu Chuan, you have surprised me for the second time. Su Lianlian's undercover plan was finally making progress. Lu Chuan, nephew, Li Luo Laozu has bestowed upon you the Chengqing Ju. Do you have any thoughts on handing it over to the sect? After thinking it over, Wang Song still believed that it would be better to ask directly. After all, Lu Chuan was his martial brother's disciple, and deceiving him would be deceiving his martial brother. Elder Wang Song, I am a member of the Immortal Gate and it is my duty to contribute to the sect's prosperity. Elder, rest assured, when I return, I will write down the Chengqing Ju and hand it over to the sect's library. Wang Song didn't expect Lu Chuan to be so sensible, and his fondness for him increased. Very well, hearing you say that, on behalf of the entire Immortal Gate, I thank you, Lu Chuan. What reward do you want? Just say it. Lu Chuan wanted many things: pills to advance to the gold core stage, spirit treasures to protect his life, powerful offensive techniques. But when he saw Luo Li, who was watching him, Lu Chuan didn't dare to say these things. If Luo Li thought about why he needed these things, she might awaken some strange memories. It's better to play the role of a selfless and dedicated senior brother in front of Luo Li. Disciple doesn't need any rewards. I only hope that Elder Wang Song can allow every disciple of the Immortal Gate to cultivate the complete version of the Chengqing Ju. Having talent in cultivation, wholeheartedly serving the sect, and treating every disciple equally, Lu Chuan was truly remarkable in his broad perspective. He deeply touched my heart, Wang Song thought. But he still couldn't become his son-in-law, that would require the test of time. In the cultivation world, how many of the talented individuals ultimately achieve success and fulfill their great Tao? Lu Chuan is still young, only at the Qi refining stage. If he wants to become my son-in-law, he must at least reach the nascent soul stage. The many disciples surrounding them, upon hearing Lu Chuan's words, showed admiration and respect for him. Senior brother Lu Chuan is truly an exemplary figure. This kind of righteousness is beyond my imagination. To think that he wants every disciple of the Immortal Gate to be able to cultivate, it's truly moving. I am just an ordinary outer disciple, and I have to rely on mission points to exchange for cultivation techniques. Now, I can truly embark on the path of cultivation. Senior brother Lu Chuan, senior brother Lu Chuan, senior brother Lu Chuan. The whole scene erupted, with the crowd cheering Lu Chuan's name. Many outer disciples were even moved to tears. Lu Chuan, Luo Li, Sima Dong, seeing Lu Chuan shining brightly and being respected by all the disciples, felt jealous. I should be the one standing there, and the one rewarded by the ancestors should be me. Sima Dong didn't believe that he was inferior to Lu Chuan. Both in swordsmanship and talent, he should be firmly surpassing Lu Chuan. From childhood to adulthood, whether in the Sima family or in the inner sect of the Immortal Gate, he was always the first, always the most eye-catching. In the past, now, and in the future. Nangong's eyes' attention was on Lin Qingshe. Ever since Lu Chuan held her hand, Lin Qingshe couldn't suppress the upward curve of her lips, and there was a faint blush on her face. He had never seen Lin Qingshe so shy, so happy, so feminine. Pursuing Lin Qingshe for nearly 100 years, although Lin Qingshe ignored his love, in Nangong's eyes' heart, Lin Qingshe was already his woman. At this moment, the hatred towards Lu Chuan in his heart had turned into a desire to kill. Lu Chuan, you dare to approach my woman, I will make you pay sooner or later, Nangong, she thought. I really can't compare to senior brother Lu Chuan. Luo Li knew that Lu Chuan had selflessly handed over the hard-earned Chengqing Ju to the sect, and she felt a deep admiration in her heart. Now she seemed to understand why her master could be attracted to a Qi refining stage junior. Righteous and upright, standing up against injustice, she saw Sima Dong playing tricks and took revenge for her. With a sense of righteousness, willing to selflessly contribute to the sect. Cold on the outside but warm on the inside, not good with words, but deep down, gentle and kind, just not good at expressing herself. If she were still the carefree princess, when someone like senior brother Lu Chuan appeared in front of her, she felt that she would definitely fall in love with him. Now she wanted to take senior brother Lu Chuan as a role model, not only in cultivation, but also in selflessness. Such a good person, it would be a pity if he didn't become her husband. She wanted to guide Lin Qingshe well and let her capture Lu Chuan as soon as possible. Otherwise, the night is long and full of dreams, and who knows which little fox will make the first move. The master can only cry under the covers. Lin Qingshe noticed her disciple looking at her, and the blush on her face deepened. Lin Qingshe also thought that Luo Li didn't know about her feelings for Lu Chuan. Being intimate with Lu Chuan in front of her disciple, she felt shy. Wang Song, on the other hand, saw Lin Qingshe and Lu Chuan's intimacy as the concern of a senior for a junior. The hardships they had gone through together in the Red Dragon secret realm were already well known in the sect. He really wanted the sect master's senior brother to see how brilliant his disciples were, but unfortunately, he was still in seclusion. Amidst the cheers for Lu Chuan, the sect's sacred land closed its doors. The next opening would be in 10 years. But when the next opening comes, everyone present will remember Lu Chuan, the new senior brother of the Immortal Gate who brought them inspiration. The name Lu Chuan will be known to everyone in the Immortal Gate. It has been about a month since the sacred land of the sect closed. At the sect's gate, Lu Chuan is currently sparring with Lin Qingshe. Luo Li, as the protagonist, is watching from the side, while Lu Chuan, the antagonist, is competing with her master, Lin Qingshe. Lu Chuan is using the 9th grade spirit sword, Bingpo sword, while Lin Qingshe is holding a willow branch she picked up casually. Lu Chuan, if you don't attack now, I'm going to attack. Lin Qingshe held a tree branch and looked at the panting Lu Chuan in front of her. A man can't say no, unless he really can't win. Lu Chuan thought. Seeing that Lu Chuan only took a defensive sword stance, Lin Qingshe lightly waved the willow branch, and the branch shot straight towards Lu Chuan. Lu Chuan picked up the frost sword for defense, but as soon as the willow branch touched the frost sword, it changed direction and aimed for Lu Chuan's neck. Oh no, Lu Chuan was shocked, but had no way to counter it. The speed of the branch far exceeded Lu Chuan's reaction speed, and when there was only a millimeter left between the branch and Lu Chuan's neck, it finally stopped. The outcome is decided, Master has won again. Lu Chuan, you really can't compare, you only know how to bully me. When facing Master, you don't even know which way is north, south, east, or west. This was Lin Qingshui's counterattack against Lu Chuan. After leaving the sacred land, Lu Chuan came to challenge her every day. Either it was real sword combat in swordsmanship, or tricky questions about the sect's techniques. Lin Qingshe initially thought that Lu Chuan was using the excuse of challenging her to find Master, but several times she didn't even know that Lu Chuan came to her mountain. Seeing Master's appearance, Lin Qingshe knew it wasn't an act. Perhaps Lu Chuan really wanted to challenge her. So she also showed her true abilities, but the result was being harshly educated by Lu Chuan. She had given up on competing in the sect's techniques. No matter how hard she tried to comprehend the Tao, she couldn't compare to Lu Chuan, who was praised by the ancestors. But swordsmanship was her pride. Even in her leisure time, when other noble girls invited her for tea and chat, she would be practicing swordsmanship. When her imperial brother invited her to hunt in the mountains, she would be practicing swordsmanship. When her younger sister went to watch a play by herself, she would be practicing swordsmanship. But no matter what sword move she used, Lu Chuan would return it to her unchanged, with even more power. She couldn't think of a way to win. For the past few days, Lu Chuan had won every time. After winning, he would say some words to provoke Lin Qingshe. Calling her a small fry, an idiot, a pig's nose, a weakling. She naturally didn't know that Lu Chuan said these things to earn points for the system. These past few days, Lu Chuan had accumulated quite a few points by relying on Lin Qingshe. Although Lu Chuan patiently guided her and made her understand why she lost, Lin Qingshe made rapid progress in both swordsmanship and Dao techniques. However, Lin Qingshe had had enough. She suspected that Lu Chuan had been infected by Sima Dong, that guy who insulted her every day. Coincidentally, when Lu Chuan came to find her today, Master was also present. In order to counterattack Lu Chuan, Lin Qingshe suggested a match between her and Lu Chuan. And then the scene from before happened. Senior brother Lu Chuan, are you really unable to defeat Master with a sword and can only rely on a tree branch? You truly are a lowly fish, a lowly fish. You always talk about me, so today I will fight back with the support of Master. Lu Li, don't be unreasonable. Your swordsmanship is far inferior to Lu Chuan's. You should learn from him instead of mocking him like this. I'll punish you with 5,000 sword strikes. You're not allowed to sleep until you finish. Why is it like this? Lu Li muttered softly, Master always favors wild men, but not his own disciple. Even though I'm disguised as a man, how am I not a man when I'm dressed as one? What did you say? I said, Master, why don't you have another match with senior brother Lu Chuan? He always praises your swordsmanship. Upon hearing this, Lin Qingshe felt shy, knowing that Lu Chuan still thought of her in his daily life. To conceal her inner restlessness, Lin Qingshe held a tree branch and asked Lu Chuan, shall we have another match? A man cannot refuse. Thank you for your guidance, senior uncle. Let's continue. But faced with the ever-changing willow branches, Lu Chuan had no choice but to call upon his inner system. System, help me out. Why can't I see through senior uncle's swordsmanship? During the previous inter-sect competition, I could predict what Sima Dong would do next. Host, don't worry. Lin Qingshe is not using swordsmanship, but rather a casual wave formed by sword intent. But each wave contains the true meaning of the sword, which is why it can go back and forth with the ice-cold sword of the host. There is a huge gap between you in terms of realm, and the flawless sword body cannot allow the host to learn Lin Qingshui's sword intent. So, I can only take the beating. If you fall behind, you will be beaten. Isn't that something the host often heard in their past life? Try to comprehend the sword intent in Lin Qingshui's willow branch. It will benefit the host. After saying these words, the system disappeared without a trace, no matter how much Lu Chuan called for it. Lin Qingshe takes swordsmanship seriously, and she is also serious about Lu Chuan. So when she sparred with Lu Chuan, she gave it her all, suppressing her own realm while using her strongest sword intent against him. Not far from the mountain gate, Su Lianlian saw the heavily injured Lu Chuan and couldn't help but laugh. This Lu Chuan is quite interesting, challenging someone in the nascent soul stage while only at the chi refining stage. What if he gets injured? He's about to become my pet soon. He should consider not only himself but also his future owner. Su Lianlian looked at the love insect on her waist and thought about having her first pet tonight, licking her enchanting and rosy lips in excitement. Look forward to tonight, my adorable little dog. Lu Chuan suddenly felt a chill behind him while he was nervously facing off against Lin Qingshe, revealing a flaw. Lin Qingshe seized the opportunity and made a move to subdue the enemy. Startled by a tree branch, Lu Chuan lost his balance and fell to the side. Lin Qingshe quickly threw away the willow branch and supported the stumbling Lu Chuan, saying, "Why are you so careless? Are you thinking about something else?" Their bodies pressed tightly together, and Lu Chuan could feel Lin Qingshui's warmth. The faint fragrance on Lin Qingshui's body made Lu Chuan's heart flutter. Since the day Lin Qingshe straightened his collar for him, Lu Chuan's defense against her had plummeted. Lu Chuan quickly regained his footing, pulled his arm out of Lin Qingshui's embrace, and distanced himself from her. "I dare not think about anything else when sparring with Master Uncle. It's not an exaggeration to say that I am wholeheartedly focused on Master Uncle." Lu Chuan scratched his head. "I just felt a slight chill earlier and lost my balance, that's all." Seeing Lu Chuan hurriedly keeping his distance, Lin Qingshe felt a bit disappointed, but when she heard that he was wholeheartedly focused on her, her heart suddenly became warm again. "Did you catch a cold? It's still spring, and the temperature changes unpredictably. You must take care of your health. Cultivation is important, but your well-being comes first. Thank you for your concern, Master Uncle. I will go back now. I have gained a lot from sparring with Master Uncle today." Lu Chuan returned to his residence, while Lin Qingshe continued to gaze in the direction of the sect master peak. Luoli felt that the sect master had misunderstood something just now. Lu Chuan's meaning was that if he lost focus during the spar, he would be taken advantage of. It was unexpected that the sect master would feel a bit shy upon hearing this. Moreover, they were all cultivators, how could they easily catch a cold? The sect master was simply confused by love and had forgotten even the simplest principles. On the other hand, she was just a pitiful and dispensable disciple who only wanted the sect master to vent her anger for her, but ended up being punished to swing her sword 5,000 times. "Lu Chuan, return my aloof and cold female sword, immortal master." Luoli swung her sword while thinking. On the way back to the sect master peak, Lu Chuan had a feeling that he was being followed. Although he was now a famous figure in the Immortal Gate, everyone who saw him would want to come up and talk to him, ask for an autograph, and so on. But there was no one following him like this before. Lu Chuan deliberately took a detour. After circling around for a while, Lu Chuan was sure that someone was indeed following him. Back in his room at the foot of the sect master peak, Lu Chuan locked all the doors and windows, sat down, and began to ponder who could be tracking him. After transmigrating to the cultivation world, the only people who were clearly hostile to him were Nangongshi and Sima Dong. The former was jealous of his close relationship with Lin Qingshe, while the latter resented being overshadowed by Lu Chuan in every aspect. But neither of them seemed like the type to track Lu Chuan. They were either directly suppressing others or finding someone else to do their dirty work and distancing themselves after bullying others. Who else could it be? Could it be a demonic cultivator or an evil cultivator? The people in the Immortal Gate were now a mix of good and bad, so it was possible that it was someone from the demonic path or the evil sect. After all, the chaos caused by the demonic path occurred in the Red Dragon's secret realm. He needed to be cautious and stay on guard. Lu Chuan took out the unfinished Changqing Ju and began to write. It would take a few more hours to complete. He had promised to write the complete version of Changqing Ju and send it to Elder Wang Song. He didn't expect it to be so difficult. Li Luo ancestor had passed on the technique of transforming spiritual energy into words to Lu Chuan. In order to write down the Changqing Ju, in his mind, he also needed to use a considerable amount of spiritual energy. Fortunately, his true cultivation level was at the foundation building late stage, so he had sufficient spiritual energy to write. If he were still at the chi refining stage, who knows when he would finish writing. He focused his mind and immersed himself in the Changqing Ju and began to write. He wrote for a full 10 minutes. The Changqing Ju was a direct insight into the great Tao of heaven and earth by Li Luo ancestor. As Lu Chuan wrote, he was actually experiencing the feelings of the ancestor at that time. This was more than beneficial to him. Previously, he had only superficially practiced according to the Changqing Ju, but after writing down each word, his understanding of the technique deepened. He dared to say that even his sect master, his own master, didn't have as profound an understanding of the Changqing Ju as he did. The room suddenly filled with a strange fragrance. Lu Chuan sniffed and, with the help of the comprehensive herbal encyclopedia he obtained from the system's tasks, recognized that the fragrance came from 4 types of soul-calming and sleep-inducing spirit herbs. 1 type would be fine, but 4 types is not normal. Is someone trying to hypnotize him? Is it the same person who was following him during the day? Fortunately, Lu Chuan has the chaotic immortal physique, immune to all negative states. This level of sleep-inducing fragrance is just a simple fragrance enhancer for Lu Chuan. Taking advantage of the situation, Lu Chuan pretended to be writing, squinting his eyes smaller and smaller, until he finally collapsed onto the desk. 5 minutes passed, 10 minutes passed, 20 minutes passed, and still no movement. It wasn't until half an hour later that Lu Chuan's door was opened, followed by crisp footsteps and a charming female voice. It seems the plan was successful, hee. The so-called strongest senior brother in the history of the Hope Immortal Gate, the designated future sect leader, is no match for my mesmerizing fragrance. Lu Chuan heard the female voice and shook his head inwardly. What kind of ridiculous nicknames are these? He has always wanted to keep a low profile, but circumstances don't allow it. What does this woman want with him? The footsteps grew closer and stopped in front of the desk where Lu Chuan was pretending to sleep. Su Lianlian lowered her head and saw the complete version of Changqing Ju pinned under Lu Chuan. She revealed a charming smile. My lovely little puppy, you are so diligent. Su Lianlian lowered her head and whispered in Lu Chuan's ear while pulling out Changqing Ju. Lu Chuan could feel the warm air Su Lianlian exhaled as she spoke. Her voice was delicate and charming, with an infinite allure even in the pauses between words. Although Su Lianlian called Lu Chuan a puppy, he couldn't help but want to hear her say a few more words. Lu Chuan couldn't help but imagine the beautiful face and graceful figure of the woman speaking. Host, I can see everything you're imagining. Pull yourself together. Your hard work of many days is about to be taken away. The voice of the system appeared. Lu Chuan responded, I know you're anxious, but don't be in a hurry. Let's first figure out if this woman has any other motives before capturing this seductive demon. Su Lianlian sat on the desk and took out a small box from her waist. Inside the box was the love Gu she had cultivated for many years. Eat this and become my pet. She wanted to take advantage of the sect leader's seclusion and absence from the sect peak today to accomplish 2 goals. One was to find the Changqing Ju, written by Lu Chuan, and hand it over to the demon sect. The other was to secretly feed Lu Chuan the love Gu while he was unconscious. As long as the love Gu entered Lu Chuan's body, he would become crazily infatuated with her and become a pet who would obey her every command. Lu Chuan, who was highly regarded by all the sect disciples and elders, would not only have to humbly call her master at night, but also want to lick her feet and be humiliated by her using her jade feet. The thought of having Lu Chuan, who was famous in the Hope Immortal Gate, as her pet made Su Lianlian feel satisfied. Su Lianlian lifted Lu Chuan's head, pried open his mouth with her hand, and took out the love Gu, preparing to feed it to Lu Chuan. He couldn't eat what the demon woman wanted him to eat. It must be dangerous. Lu Chuan instinctively felt something was wrong. In an instant, the collapsed Lu Chuan's spiritual energy surged, and he grabbed Su Lianlian's hand, stuffing the thing in her hand into the unconscious demon woman's mouth. Just in case, Lu Chuan also enveloped the small bug-like thing with his spiritual energy to ensure that the demon woman swallowed it. You demon woman, don't even think about harming me. Who are you exactly? Tell me your name. How could Lu Chuan have expected that the Su Lianlian, who was just choking him a second ago, would suddenly pounce on him? Lu Chuan was forcefully pressed down, and the hungry Su Lianlian straddled his waist, twisting her graceful body while passionately kissing Lu Chuan's lips. Help, I'm being forcefully kissed by a demon woman. Although it feels good, that's beside the point. I was forcibly kissed. Lu Chuan searched his memory of the first half of his life, but there was no recollection of a female fairy lying on top of him. They should be meeting for the first time. Suddenly, the voice of the system rang out. To actually want to make my host into a pet, how audacious. Mission. Make Su Lianlian willingly call me master. Reward. 1 piece of jade suiseki, 1 piece of Kixia lotus. Looking at the system in front of him that only he could see, Lu Chuan couldn't believe his eyes. The person clinging to him and kissing him passionately is the future leader of the demonic sect, the renowned female demoness, Su Lianlian. The original Su Lianlian would never make such a move. In her eyes, everyone except for the protagonist, Luo Li, was irrelevant, disposable. At this time, she should still be undercover in the Immortal Gate. How could she possibly infiltrate the sect's main peak? Su Lianlian would accidentally discover Luo Li's potential while undercover, gradually becoming interested in him. They would go through many hardships together, but in the end, they would have to reveal their true identities and stand on opposite sides. Their love-hate relationship in the later stages of the novel is also one of the highlights. But they never end up together in the end. Luo Li, the righteous number one, and Su Lianlian, the leader of the demonic sect. Their opposing positions force them to put aside their personal feelings and pretend to hate each other in public. Luo Li still has the princess and other concubines, while Su Lianlian can only suppress her love for Luo Li and live a lonely life. This can be considered an unresolved conflict in the novel. Although Su Lianlian is a demonic cultivator, because of her attachment to Luo Li, she has never committed acts of killing or arson. Even after becoming the leader of the demonic sect, she restricts the unjust actions of the sect's members. In the original work, although she is full of dirty jokes when she is alone with Luo Li, she becomes shy for half a day even when holding hands with Lu Chuan, a pure and innocent girl with no experience. With no experience at all, only Su Lianlian, who is good with words, how could she suddenly pounce on him and forcibly kiss him? And this mission, to make the future leader of the demonic sect, the renowned witch, call me master. Lu Chuan really couldn't imagine what Su Lianlian would look like calling him master. Woo woo woo. Just as Lu Chuan was headache-inducing over how to complete this mission, Su Lianlian stopped her actions, raised her head, and warm tears fell onto Lu Chuan's face. She got off Lu Chuan and squatted down, making intermittent sobbing sounds. You scoundrel, it's all your fault, I lost my first kiss. Woo woo woo. Su Lianlian tried to expel the love Gu inside her body. After all, she had raised the love Gu herself and was very familiar with its actions. She should still have the ability to deal with it. She mobilized her spiritual energy throughout her body, forcing the Gu worms outwards from her dantian. At first, everything went smoothly, and the Gu worms were gradually pushed out by the spiritual energy. But at the moment when they were about to leave the dantian, they started to struggle violently, accelerating their movement and causing chaos in their actions within the dantian. The love Gu erupted, and desire surged. The flames of desire ignited from within her dantian, making it difficult for her to concentrate on controlling her spiritual energy. After swallowing the love Gu, the first person she saw was Lu Chuan. Naturally, the love Gu regarded Lu Chuan as its cultivator, and its influence in the dantian made Su Lianlian desire Lu Chuan intensely. Only by coming into contact with Lu Chuan's bodily fluids could the love Gu temporarily cease its actions. Su Lianlian got up and pounced on Lu Chuan again. Lu Chuan, who didn't know how to approach Su Lianlian, was startled by her actions. But the same trick wouldn't work on Lu Chuan a second time. Lu Chuan suddenly grabbed Su Lianlian's hands, pressed her against the wall, and held her hands with one hand while lifting her chin with the other. First, he needed to find out Su Lianlian's intentions for attacking him. The mission had no time limit, so it wouldn't matter if he completed it later. Tell me, what exactly are you attacking me for? What kind of evil substance are you planning to give me? Kiss me. If you kiss me, I'll tell you. Although Lu Chuan didn't know exactly what Su Lianlian had swallowed, he had a rough idea that it was probably an aphrodisiac. Seeing that Su Lianlian was not in a normal state, Lu Chuan thought that this was a good opportunity to complete the system's mission. If he missed this chance, it would be difficult to complete the mission. The two types of spiritual herbs given by the system were extremely rare alchemy herbs, one of which was the material needed for the foundation building pill, and the other was the material for advancing to the gold core stage. Both of these spiritual herbs were what he needed. Lu Chuan was currently interested in alchemy technique. The reward given by the system last time was to achieve basic accomplishment in alchemy. The upgraded pills in the system store cost hundreds of thousands of points. At his current rate of earning points, it would take him several years to accumulate enough points. By that time, Luo Li might have already become a true immortal, while he was still accumulating points to buy the pills for upgrading to gold core. If you want me to kiss you, call me master. Su Lianlian tightly closed her eyes. not wanting to see Lu Chuan's face, and squeezed out 2 words from her breath. Master. The system had no response. He remembered that the system had written that Su Lianlian had to willingly call him Master, with a heart full of emotions. It seems you still don't understand your situation. Say it again, but this time, say it willingly with full emotions. Lu Chuan leaned close to her blushing ear and spoke in a firm tone. After speaking, he lightly bit Su Lianlian's delicate earlobe. The sudden stimulation made Su Lianlian's thighs tingle and her whole body tremble. She looked up at Lu Chuan with teary eyes, her moist gaze expressing her longing for him. Master. Congratulations, host, on completing the mission. Rewards have been issued. 1 piece of jade marrow mushroom and 1 piece of 7-hued lotus. The voice of the system rang out. At the same time, Su Lianlian couldn't hold back any longer and tried her best to lift her head to kiss Lu Chuan's lips. She couldn't fully experience it when she was forcefully kissed just now. Su Lianlian's lips were soft as silk, delicate as rose petals, and sweet as honey. A scorching kiss, passionate kiss, and fiery kiss. Su Lianlian was not satisfied with just a simple kiss. She wanted more. The idea of merging with Lu Chuan occupied her mind. She tightly embraced Lu Chuan, her hands constantly exploring his body. Her soft and nimble tongue slipped between Lu Chuan's teeth, searching for his tongue. Their tongues intertwined, and Su Lianlian spoke seductive words while kissing. Lu Chuan, I want you. Su Lianlian's tone became gentle, like a gentle breeze blowing in Lu Chuan's heart, but it seemed to have a magical power that made Lu Chuan fall into her tender embrace. Thinking of her pitiful and seductive appearance when she called him Master, Lu Chuan's most basic instincts were aroused. In the moonlight, Lu Chuan witnessed the enchanting and tempting beauty, the delicate and smooth skin, and the almost perfect figure. Bodies intertwined in the darkness. The first ray of sunlight in the morning shone on the bed where the 2 lay. Su Lianlian nestled beside Lu Chuan, feeling weak all over. They had been entangled all night until just now when the love potion finally settled down. So, the love potion you prepared for me is the one you've been cultivating since your time in the demonic sect. After taking it, if I don't receive the body fluids of the person who administered the potion within a certain period of time, I will die. That's right. So, before extracting the love potion, we need to at least kiss a few times. Su Lianlian turned her face to the side, not looking at Lu Chuan. In her mind, what happened last night was purely accidental and couldn't happen again. But wait, if we really follow your plan, how can we alleviate the love potion in my body? Lu Chuan asked curiously. After planting the love potion and obtaining the Longqing Ju, Su Lianlian would not let him die easily. After all, if the sect leader and other experts investigate, they will easily find out who did it. Not only will she be unable to protect herself, but it will also implicate the demonic sect behind her. In the end, she will have to kiss herself. It's not surprising that Su Lianlian already knows that Lu Chuan knows she is a member of the demonic sect. Last night, when they were doing that, Lu Chuan played tricks and insisted that she answer all sorts of random questions before giving her pleasure. Su Lianlian has already revealed everything that can and cannot be said. She doesn't dare to hide anything from Lu Chuan, after all, her life is in his hands. She can only endure for now and please Lu Chuan. Once the love GU is extracted, she will immediately kill Lu Chuan and disappear from the Immortal Gate for a while. As long as Lu Chuan is dead, she will still be pure and remain a chaste virgin. I'll spit a couple of mouthfuls of saliva for you. According to the plan, you shouldn't be able to be this close to me now. You can only beg for my saliva on the ground. Su Lianlian remembered the details of what happened last night and her face flushed. Oh, little Lianlian, you're so good at playing. Master also wants to try. Pervert, dream on, go die. Hee, I hope that after some time, when the love GU takes effect, you can have this kind of attitude too. Lu Chuan remembered that she came to his room and said she wanted to bring the Changqing Ju to the demonic sect. At this time, Su Lianlian was still competing with others for the position of demonic sect saintess. She came to the Immortal Gate as a spy in order to gain some leverage in the competition for saintess. The way the demonic sect treats disciples is completely different from the righteous sect. In the righteous sect, everyone at least appears friendly and helps each other when facing difficulties. In the demonic sect, disciples are left to fend for themselves, and the strong can freely bully and exploit the weak. Everyone hopes that accidents happen to fellow disciples who are in competition with them. Becoming a saintess in the demonic sect means receiving the protection of the sect leader and having a bright future. Of course, Lu Chuan knows that with the help of the protagonist Luo Li, Su Lianlian will successfully become the demonic sect saintess. But she still lacks confidence now. After all, there are many competitors and each of them is formidable. She only came to the Immortal Gate as a spy because she couldn't surpass them in the demonic sect headquarters. Little Lianlian, do you want to become the demonic sect saintess? Guess. Her ultimate goal in coming to the Immortal Gate as a spy is to become the demonic sect saintess. Lu Chuan knows this, but he pretends to be ignorant, just being a jerk. I think my little Lianlian is capable of becoming a big shot in the demonic sect. As long as you listen to me, I guarantee that you will not only become the demonic sect saintess but also the sect leader. Just bring back the Chengqing Ju to complete your mission. But first, give me the demonic sect cultivation technique you've been practicing. I want to make some improvements. Lu Chuan came up with a clever way to kill two birds with one stone. Are you serious? Upon hearing Lu Chuan's words, she was both surprised and delighted. Su Lianlian had originally thought that her mission had failed, and she could only waste time at the Immortal Gate until the GU worms were extracted. Little Lianlian, you're so cute. How could I deceive you? Lu Chuan pinched Su Lianlian's face with his hand. HMPH, scoundrel. Su Lianlian turned her head to the side and coldly snorted. This was the first time she had heard someone describe herself as cute, and she felt a bit at a loss. Although that was the case, she still took out the demonic cultivation techniques she had cultivated and handed them to Lu Chuan. The Longqing Ju is very important to me. As long as I can give the complete version obtained by Lu Chuan to the current sect master, my weight in the sect master's heart will increase, and I will have a better chance of competing for the position of saintess. Why do you need the demonic cultivation techniques that I need to cultivate? Do you secretly practice demonic arts? How is that possible? I am a righteous disciple through and through. I just added some demonic cultivation techniques to the Longqing Ju. Don't worry, take it back and fulfill your duty. It won't be discovered. Lu Chuan walked to the desk, read through the demonic cultivation techniques that Su Lianlian had given him, memorized the core principles, and then took out a blank notebook to modify it based on the Longqing Ju. He had two intentions in doing so. First, to cultivate his own power within the demonic sect. Even if Su Lianlian would have contact with Luo Li in the future, as long as the love Gu was still present, she would have to listen to him. For Lu Chuan, it would only be beneficial if Su Lianlian successfully became the saintess of the demonic sect. After a possible conflict with Luo Li, he might be able to hide within the demonic sect. Second, after Su Lianlian gave the techniques to the current sect master, she would definitely try to cultivate them. If he gave her the complete version given by the ancestor, she might be able to comprehend something from it, increasing the threat to the peace of the immortal cultivation world. He currently had no means of self-preservation. If the conflict between the righteous and demonic factions erupted ahead of schedule, he would lose even the advantage of knowing the direction of the plot. By changing the core principles and techniques of the Longqing Ju into demonic cultivation techniques, he wouldn't have to worry about that. After all, it was Lu Chuan's blind modification, so how could it be useful to higher-level experts? It would be good enough if she didn't go astray. For Lu Chuan, it was quite a burden to modify a combined version suitable for the foundation building stage in a short period of time. He had to integrate the characteristics of both techniques. Sweat dripped from his forehead, and he felt twice the pressure on his mind. His brows couldn't help but furrow. Su Lianlian, lying on the bed, looked at Lu Chuan. His pained and slightly ferocious face overlapped with the face from their intimate moments last night. He's doing this for me. Su Lianlian's lips slightly parted. Her cheeks flushed, and her heart raced. She had experienced a similar feeling before, when she fought against members of the demonic sect. But it was definitely different this time. It felt like feathers tickling her heart, and she felt inexplicably happy, as if she had eaten honey. Little Lianlian, what did you say? Lu Chuan didn't hear Su Lianlian's words clearly, so he simply stopped and rested for a while. Scoundrel, don't call me little Lianlian anymore. Su Lianlian didn't want Lu Chuan to see her abnormal state, so she pulled the blanket over her face. Well, it's not appropriate to call you little Lianlian outside. From now on, I'll call you Lianlian. Lu Chuan cleared his throat on purpose and said with a nauseating tone, Lianlian. Covered in the blanket, Su Lianlian pouted and said coquettishly, shut up. Go and do your work quickly. When you finish writing, I want to take it back and fulfill my duty. Being called Lianlian was also the first time. Su Lianlian's cheeks slightly reddened within the blanket, and she shyly bit her lower lip, burying her face in the pillow, trying to hide her agitated heart. Su Lianlian was born and raised in the demonic sect. Since she could remember, she had been taught to compete with others. Without striving, she would get nothing. Her first half of life had always been filled with intrigue within the demonic sect. Some people worked hard for her, and some sacrificed for her. It was unimaginable for her before coming to the Immortal Gate. Moreover, she had the love Gu in her body, so as long as Lu Chuan wanted, she couldn't refuse anything. Not only a scoundrel, but also an idiot. Su Lianlian murmured softly, but the slight curve of her mouth exposed her true emotions. She was still the same as described in the novel, a pure girl with high attack and low defense. It had been a month since the little witch Su Lianlian ambushed Lu Chuan. Recently, the Immortal Gate had been calm and peaceful. During the day, Lu Chuan went to the Lin Qingshe sect gate to compete with Luo Li for villain points, and at night, he used the cheap spiritual herbs in the point shop on the sect master peak to refine pills. The Dao rhyme that Luo Li obtained from the sacred land had greatly accelerated her progress, and she was on the verge of a breakthrough, only one step away from the foundation building stage. Lin Shishu was fine, except for his fondness for tormenting himself in swordsmanship. The only thing that bothered him recently was where to find foundation building pills for his disciple. The sect master does not know where he is in seclusion. Although Sima Dong occasionally sneaks a peek at him and Luo Li's competition, it can't be considered a threat. Just a chi refining late stage, Lu Chuan doesn't even put him in his eyes. Nan Gongxi goes out to solve tasks that the disciples of the sect cannot handle, no longer looking towards the Immortal Gate. Apart from Elder Wang Song occasionally coming to urge him to submit his work, Lu Chuan has been living a peaceful life these days. Knowing that Luo Li needs a foundation building pill, Lu Chuan came up with the idea of refining one with additional ingredients, and after several twists and turns, finally let Luo Li obtain it, with the intention of permanently stopping her cultivation at the chi refining stage. This way, his second life in the cultivation world would be worry-free. Taking out the origin returning pill he refined from the alchemy furnace, Lu Chuan exchanged another origin returning pill from the point store. Although they look the same, they can still be distinguished by their smell and details. The pills sold in the system store all have deep pill patterns, while Lu Chuan's only vaguely shows signs of patterns. Is it still not good enough? Lu Chuan was slightly disappointed. After so many days of refining various ordinary pills, they all fell short compared to the systems. He has already refined several bottles of the 3 commonly used pills. Even if he finds the other 2 spiritual herbs needed to upgrade to the gold core stage, he doesn't have the confidence to refine them successfully. The door to the room was opened, and Su Lianlian walked in, striding towards Lu Chuan. What's the matter? Lianlian misses me. Lu Chuan teased when he saw Su Lianlian being serious. Don't talk nonsense. Su Lianlian walked up to Lu Chuan, went straight to the point, and wrapped her slender yet powerful hands around Lu Chuan's neck. Ignoring Lu Chuan's resistance, she took the initiative to tilt her head up, stood on her tiptoes, and kissed Lu Chuan's lips. The bodily fluids needed to break the love Gu will change with the length of time. The maximum limit for detoxification with saliva is 1 month. In the last few days, Su Lianlian's thoughts were filled with Lu Chuan. She wanted to see him, be intimate with him, and the desire for intimacy almost occupied her mind. Not satisfied with just a kiss, Su Lianlian's tongue began to explore Lu Chuan's mouth, trying to find his tongue and entwine with it. There are still chi condensation pills in the furnace. If they can't stop themselves, the entire furnace of pills will be ruined. Those are the spiritual herbs that Lu Chuan risked his life to obtain in order to humiliate Luo Li. Lu Chuan pushed Su Lianlian away and removed her wandering hands from his body. What's wrong? She clearly wasn't satisfied, her eyes blurred. She wiped the corner of her mouth with her hand, not knowing whose saliva it was, and leaned towards Lu Chuan. I'm still refining pills. I'm about to start the furnace. We can't do that today. Be restrained, Lianlian. Lianlian understands. Kissing is enough. Su Lianlian leaned against Lu Chuan, her hands wrapped around his waist, her eyes slightly moist. Her voice was a perfect blend of charm, grievance, cuteness. You're a little witch, not a succubus. Lu Chuan couldn't help it either. He lowered his head to respond to Su Lianlian's demands. After a long time, they separated, their lips still lingering with fragrance. HMPH, you're quite good at being a rogue. Su Lianlian didn't expect that Lu Chuan would refuse to cultivate with her when her love Jiyu was acting up. It's all thanks to your teachings, Lianlian. Lu Chuan responded casually and came to the alchemy furnace to start it. In an instant, the room was filled with a strong aroma of pills. Taking out the finished pills, although there was some progress, there was still a slight gap compared to the ones in the system store. Lu Chuan couldn't help but start thinking about where the problem lies. Su Lianlian came to Lu Chuan's side and looked at the pills in his hand. Did you refine these pills yourself? Are you really skilled in alchemy? Alchemy depends on talent and comprehension. Having wood and fire attributes of spiritual energy is talent. Alchemy technique cannot be explained through language, and it is even more difficult through writing. Therefore, there are very few alchemy works circulating in the cultivation world, and even fewer people who can understand them. This is comprehension. In the current cultivation world, alchemists are extremely rare. In the eyes of sects and cultivation families, they can all be considered important strategic resources. Anyone who can refine pills will be paid a high price to stay. The manpower and resources spent on cultivating an alchemist are astronomical figures, to the point where small sects don't even have a single alchemist and can only go to large sects or auctions to buy them. Su Lianlian originally thought that Lu Chuan was just a beginner in alchemy, but she never expected that he could actually refine pills. Taking the pill from Lu Chuan's hand, she carefully observed it and found a faintly visible pill pattern on the pill. This is a qi condensation pill with a pill pattern. Su Lianlian knew that Lu Chuan was a rare genius in both Dao techniques and swordsmanship, but she never expected him to be skilled in alchemy, let alone a genius in alchemy. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.